All right. Hello, all you sick little monkeys out there in YouTube land. My name is Alan, and it's that time, yet again, for Heavy Metallurgy. If I'm a little jacked up right now, you'll have to pardon me. I've spent the last 4 hours glued to eBay because there's a massive record collection up for sale this weekend. And I see that some of you sick little monkeys in the chat have been doing the exact same thing. So before you go casting any stones my way, I know what you've been bidding on. We've got an eye on you. But
you know what? I got to interject for 1 second. eBay auctions on something like this are a lot like a basketball game. You don't need to watch it until the last 3 minutes of the game. So why have you wasted 4 hours? I'm just throwing that out there.
That's a good point. Yes, because this person has about 1,000 records that are being sold over the next 24 hours. They started ending at 5 o'clock today, and they are still ending now with one closing about every 60 to 65 seconds. So that's why I've been watching it for 4 hours straight, because I've watched about 120 items close that I've kept an eye on.
What would you have done if all of those hit?
I sat in a pool of my own juices and, auctioned off, the car. I don't know.
I'm sorry, Dean, but you're going to a new home. Daddy had to sell you.
Oh, no. We keep the kid. Now the cats, the pets.
Yeah.
If I can sell them by the pound, I'd make a fortune. Fat cats.
I didn't mean to get into your flow there.
No.
I just had to jump in there for a second. Continue.
That's all good. It's all good. Yes, Melissa's got a perspective on this as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, anyway, I am done bidding for the night. Mercifully, the last items I wanted to bid on closed at 8:58. So we got that taken care of before we had to start with tonight's stream between myself and my esteemed colleague, Marty. Marty, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing just fine, thank you. I'm all excited and fired up for this topic. And our guest, very excited.
Yes, same here. I've won a few records. I've got a new beer to try. It's a Bell's Amber Ale. Let's find out what this tastes like. I'm not sure about that one.
Well, if we're going to go down that road, I just got my buddy Jack turned me onto this. The Finnish Long Drink.
Okay.
This stuff is 5.5% alcohol, and it's got juniper and gin in it. It's very citrusy, but not heartburn inducing. It's very flavorful. This stuff rules. Really good. I don't know who LD. I don't know who the hell that is.
Don't know that one.
Oh, I have no. LD, I guess, stands for long drink. TheLongDrink.com. So TheLongDrink.com. Shout out. You want to sponsor this podcast? Get with your boy, and that boy too. I'm sure he'll like it as well. But anyway,
I'm gonna say this one's almost got like a weird IPA kind of flavor to it. Wasn't expecting that.
IPA is yucky. Yuck.
I've only ever found 1 or 2 IPAs that I really liked, but I can drink this, but I don't think I'll be getting it again. Anyway, I've rambled about eBay, and I'll be glad to chat with folks in the chat about that. I know some of you are going to have questions. I know some of you have been bidding. I want to know how much luck y'all have had. Hopefully, it's been better than mine. But anyway, we do have an actual show to do tonight. Marty, do we have a few show notes that we need to call out before bringing on our most esteemed and elusive guest?
The only thing we have really tied down at the moment is Wednesday night. We're having the album club. We're going to be covering this album right here, Noble Beast, self-titled from 2014. My good friend Mr. Brainsmasher sent this to me out of the blue. It's very good. Other than that, I do have a little thing I would like to put out there. I locked down the artist for the next Heavy Metallurgy t-shirt. They'll be done by none other than Justin Bowling, who many of you will know, hopefully, from the Vestibon's Blood Box YouTube channel. Very talented illustrator. He also does Vestibon comics, and he's a very talented musician as well. I think the name of his Dungeon Synth project is Feather, and he's a great guitar player. He does a bunch of other stuff as well. He's a sick little monkey like we are, and he is signed on to do the next design. A couple months down the road, when it's done, we'll be unveiling a new design for you folks. Hopefully you will dig it, and thank you for your patience on that. But that's all I had to say on that. Is there anything else you want to bring up, Alan, before we introduce our esteemed guest?
Just one thing. I'll give one more pitch if folks haven't followed up on it. A reminder that the Fates Warning book, Destination Onward, is now available. You can order it over at the Radical Research podcast website by Jeff Wagner. Gives the whole history of the band. I am almost to the end of it. We're getting there. It's a very good read, as you would expect. Jeff's a very good writer. And the book moves really well. I know a lot of folks are maybe only fans of specific eras. There's a lot of folks that like the Arch material, maybe not the Alder material, but the book moves along at a very good pace, so that even if there are parts of the band's history you're less interested in, it's not like half the book focuses on just one or two albums, or that you spend a huge amount of time on a part of the band's history you're not interested in. There's lots of good trivia and history and sort of insights to the band throughout all the chapters. So yeah, if you're a Fates Warning fan and you haven't ordered this, what's wrong with you? What are you doing with your life? Quit bidding on eBay and go order the book from Radical Research. It is an excellent read. You should pick it up.
I hope to crack mine open on this weekend. I hope so. I'm looking for. I walk by it on the table. I'm like, oh, I need to get into that. But definitely coming soon. Oh, last thing. The old t-shirts still available in the link in the description, and super chats are available if anybody cares to donate to the channel. It all goes to tech stuff. It all goes to StreamYard payments. It all goes to, fixing things that are going to hell. If you so choose, great. If not, hey, that's great too. We love having you guys here, and we appreciate all 55 of you that are here. But without further ado, we've got a guest we've been wanting to get on here for a long time, but he works Fridays. And he's been a friend of mine.
And he's too good to hang out with us.
He
had these outrageous demands, like, where the fuck am I supposed to get 3 million red M&Ms? God damn it. Well, it turns out the answer is eBay, like it is for everything else. So we have paid the amount of tribute necessary to bring our guest in tonight. And I'll now quit interrupting and let Marty introduce him properly.
Yes. He's been a friend of mine for a long time. He was a member of the band Satan's Almighty Penis. He has been involved in record labels, Pagan Flames. He has done a bunch of other stuff. Very talented guy. Excellent YouTuber. You know him as Brainsmasher. I know him as Ben. There he is. Let's give him a hand. Brainsmasher. Finally. He makes it. He makes it to the esteemed halls of the heavy metallurgists. Welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me, friends. Good to be back.
And I have a dog down here that's in heat and driving me absolutely crazy. Go lay down. Go.
That was more information than we needed. Thank you.
Oh, it's so gross. Brainsmasher. But yes, if you are unfamiliar with Brainsmasher's channel, but chances are if you watch this channel, you know of him. The link's in the description. Go down there. He also has a Patreon. After you watch a few of his episodes and want more exclusive content, you can dig into your pockets and help support this guy's college fund and beard transplant. It's something we've been planning on for a while, and we're trying to get there with his Patreon. So go check him out. Awesome channel, great guy. And thank you, Ben, for bringing this topic to us. What made you think about talking about tributes, which I will say is kind of a lost art? There's a few here that are newish, but the 2000s were kind of the early 2000s were kind of the tribute heyday. Would you agree?
I think it is. It's a thing that depends mostly on the physical format. So as we've kind of moved out of that and gone more digital, like what's the point of like compiling a bunch of songs that aren't, an album together? And also, 65 episodes in, am I really it's slim pickings for the topic? So
it is not. We have plenty of topics. We've
got a video about tribute albums. It was 4 years ago or so, and I really liked it. I just didn't feel like it garnered as much attention as I was enthusiastic about it. So I thought it'd be fun. Yeah. Also, I think it's a great way to just talk about a million bands. We aren't going to have to work too hard to, drum up the topics and tangents and stuff.
I do. I think of the topic tribute albums, tribute type things, I think of two words: Dwell Records.
Yep.
And if anybody is old enough and has been scavenging through the underground for at least 20 or so years, you'll remember this label. It started off as kind of a fun little thing and quickly evolved into kind of being a bit ridiculous. I don't know. I don't know if that is a sentiment that's kind of shared by other people here, but
it was like they tripped over their own shoelaces trying to put out as many tributes and covers as they possibly could and put out some kind of stuff that shouldn't have been recorded, maybe.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Definitely so. And that was one issue with tribute, albums is there were too many of them, and they got done too fast, too furious, and too many bands that maybe didn't even need a tribute album. So they were kind of fun at first, when they trickled out. But yeah, I think we all just kind of got a little bit burned out for a while on the wave of them. That kept coming.
It can be amazing or like a total piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, before we dive into the nit and gritty, I do want to extend, should have done this earlier, but it just reoccurred to me. Happy birthday to Tim Saunders in the chat, who's been with us kind of since day one, is always one of the first people to chime in on the chat. He's celebrating number 57 today, so cheers to you, brother.
Damn,
happy birthday, Tim.
Suddenly I don't feel like the oldest guy in the room, so more of that, please. But
oops,
I'm sorry. Oh, sorry, Alan. All right. Well, we might as well get started here, Ben. Why don't you steer this ship into the open waters with your first descent into the tribute universe?
So we're not really going top to bottom, left to right, A to B, A to Z. It's just kind of, I don't know, good, bad. I've got some like topic ideas that are worth bringing up, but should we just like go with the good for now for starters?
Yeah, that sounds. Yeah, we'll save the bad for later in the evening when we're a little punchier, and that usually makes it a little more fun.
So I think a lot of OGs, shout out to my OGs, will know this guy, but this one kind of fell under the radar big time. Tribute to Metallica. Yeah, I mean, not a huge deal, right? But the lineup on this thing is incredible. This was put out by Black Sun Records of Sweden.
Oh, I don't know if I ever had that one.
Really choice roster. So let me read off some of this stuff here. Luciferion, Fight Fire with Fire. Miscreant, Fade to Black.
Wow.
Ceremony of Oath, Disposable Heroes. Afflicted, doing Leper Messiah. Crystal Age, Damage Incorporated. In Flames, Eye of the Beholder. Dark Tranquility, My Friend of Misery. Fucking stacked. There's a lot of guys on there. And there is even a band on here called Snot Rocket covering Escape. And Snot Rocket was fronted by Tompa, Thomas Lindbergh. That's the only thing they ever recorded.
Fun fact, I read somewhere that James Hetfield does not like that song Escape. They started playing it recently in the last couple of years in their live set, and he always kind of said that it was kind of a throwaway track on Ride the Lightning.
So it's just called Tribute to Metallica. I don't. This might be a real rare, hard to find, but it's killer. I'm not a huge Metallica fan, but a lot of times, the reason I like covers and tribute albums is if it's like good bands covering bands that I'm not necessarily a big fan of. That can kind of be a gateway for me to get into that band or just kind of see things through someone else's eyes.
Well, the thing I want to ask you about that tribute there, for me, heavy bands covering metal bands that have typically pitch singing, like you get like what Necrophobic covering Iron Maiden or Slayer or something like that. It never sits well with me. Those songs are in my DNA. I hear them in my head. I hear Tom Araya, or I hear Bruce Dickinson, or I hear Paul Di'Anno singing it. And you got some guy going, doing the screaming, the death screaming over it. And it's just like, it just kind of, I mean, how does that comp play out? I mean, is it all sped up, blasting black thrash, death kind of melodic Swedish takes of, how does it feel?
I'll be honest, it's been a really long time, and we only came up with this topic like Wednesday or so. So I haven't had a lot of time to sit down with a lot of stuff. But this is one of those things, like, I've been meaning to dig this out and play it again because it's got a killer lineup on it. And like, I don't listen to Metallica really on the daily like a lot of people. I've been meaning to pull this out and give it another spin. But, I've just always thought it was pretty worthy and noteworthy.
That's cool. I've never seen that comp. Never seen it. Very cool.
I collect Black Sun records. All that shit is great.
Right on. All right, Alan. What have you got?
All right, my approach will be a little different tonight. I've got a few, bona fide tribute albums, but I don't have a lot. I'll be covering a lot of, cover songs and
I got you covered, Alan.
A few bands. Yeah. Yeah, when it came to tribute albums, like I said earlier, at first they were kind of cool. Picked up, this one, that one, this one, that one. But they kept coming out faster and faster. And so, I kind of, got a little tired and a bit overwhelmed with them. Another problem I ran into with the tribute albums was that while they're kind of, neat, they weren't something I was going back and replaying all that often. To be like, okay, let's listen to, a bunch of bands, play Metallica songs. That's interesting once or twice, but most of the time, let's be honest, cover songs are a less good version of the original song. So there just weren't a lot of times when I would think, I'm really in the mood to hear Judas Priest, but I want to hear 15 other bands try to play Judas Priest. So let's reach for the Judas Priest tribute album. So I didn't always keep a lot of the tribute albums long term, but there were some good ones. A couple that I want to at least shout out. I'll have to go to some phone pictures since I don't have hard copies of these. This was an early Iron Maiden tribute called A Call to Irons. And this one had a really cool lineup on it. You had Steel Prophet cover Purgatory. Ancient Wisdom did Power Slave. I'm not going to call out all the tracks, just some of the highlights. Angel Corpse did Genghis Khan. Solitude Eternus does a spot-on version of Hallowed Be Thy Name. New Eden, an old power metal band, did Phantom of the Opera. Opeth is on here with Remember Tomorrow. Morgian does To Tame a Land. Evoken does Strange World. Opera 9 does Rime of the Ancient Mariner. And Absu did Transylvania. So it's kind of, some more extreme bands than you would expect for Iron Maiden tribute. But they picked songs that were pretty good for them to do. It would be weird to hear Absu do The Trooper or something, so they did Transylvania instead. Morgan's not going to do Die With Your Boots On, but To Tame a Land, they could kind of make that work within their wheelhouse. So it was, a pretty good lineup of bands, and I thought they did a really nice job with the track selection on that particular compilation. So that was the first one that sprang to mind when Ben proposed this topic of going over some tribute stuff. Either of y'all familiar with that one?
There it is. We both showed it. We both showed it.
Pretty good.
It's good.
I got point two also.
Good deal.
Yeah, like that brings a point. Like this might be someone's gateway to a band that is important that might not be in their wheelhouse. So I think it's bands paying tribute and honor to their gods, if you will, to kind of hand those influences down to the next generation. And I think that's helpful, and I think that's kind of fun to enjoy that conduit relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Marty.
Much like Ben, there's the first three I'm going to show tonight. Well, if I get there, I know some of these are also probably in Ben's stack.
You're probably going to cancel each other out left and right.
We're going to be canceling each other. I mean, there isn't a huge well to pick from here, but Ben actually sent me these top two, but I'll show this first one first because I love the shit out of this. This tribute here is really, really good, and it's I've listened to it a lot. It's a good car thing. It's and of course this will make all you roll your eyes. Don't give a shit. The Keepers of Jericho, a tribute to Halloween. Mr. Brainsmasher.
Well, we got it out of the way early tonight, folks.
Yep, we're getting it out of the way early. We're gonna get it out of here, and I can move on. Yep, this is an excellent comp. Rhapsody doing Guardians, Sonata Arctica doing I Want Out, which probably one of the weaker covers on here. Heaven's Gate, A Little Time. Metallium doing Ride the Sky, which is excellent. I remember getting a ton of Metallium CDs back in the early days of Worm Gear, and I just didn't want anything to do with it. I'd give the CDs away. Now I'm finding myself, because of that cover, going back on eBay saying I should get these old albums again because they're pretty good. Luca Turilli does I'm Alive, Morafade, Judas, Vision Divine, who I don't know, Eagle Fly Free, Brainstorm, Savage, Labyrinth, Future World, Sidonia, Save Us, Squealer, Victim of Fate, Darkmoor, Halloween, and Secret Sphere, How Many Tears? Other than the Sonata Antarctica, which the only reason I don't really like that is because I'm not a big fan of the guy's voice. But other than that, this is an excellent comp. It's all the songs are done with a lot of conviction. You can tell 90% of these bands owe a great amount of debt of gratitude towards Helloween. You can see who buttered their bread for them. And yeah, excellent comp, excellent tribute. And thank you, Ben. It's stellar. Like I said, it's in constant rotation. It's a lot of fun.
There is a part 2 of that.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember it being nearly as good, but hey, you can't have too much Helloween.
Never. I would agree with that.
That's the unofficial motto of this show. You can never have too much Helloween.
Unless you're Alan.
Metallurgy shirt, like on the back.
Right? That'd be cool. That's a good idea, actually.
As Marty said earlier, we're talking to folks about new designs, and I would be lying if I said that pumpkin designs have not already been discussed. And not that we're going in that direction, but they're on the table.
We're going in a bunch of directions. We're just going to fuck yeah, Jurgen. I got it out of the way out front. I'm gonna get it out there. I'm not gonna fuck around. I came here to fucking party. Anyway, Ben, you're up.
Yeah, we did. All right. This is a must-have. Absolute classic tribute. When I think of how good a tribute can be, this is a perfect example. Oh, this is so great.
I know what it is.
What's that?
No, I know what it is, but no, now that I see what you're holding, it isn't that.
You don't know what it is. You don't know shit. It came out like exactly at the point in time when all these bands were really, really good. What is it, Marty?
I was gonna say it's this. Oh, nope. But I agree. I have it here too.
Absolutely great.
This is a flawless tribute.
It's mind blowing. Didn't really cut my teeth on Bathory really at all, but I was a fan of all these bands when this thing came out, and it really, really paved the way for me learning about Bathory and understanding how pivotal they were to the genre that I hold to my core. So you're ready for the track list. Marduk, In Conspiracy with Satan, Ophthalmia, Doing Sacrifice, Gehenna, Reaper, Dark Funeral, Equimanthorn. Satan's Almighty Penis was actually supposed to be on a tribute to Bathory. And I and the other member of our band were emailing the same guy about the tribute. And my guitar player chose Equimanthorn, and I chose Crawl to Your Cross. And so we wound up doing Crawl to Your Cross, which is a really, really hard song to sing. And that's a Bathory song that was only on the Jubileum Volume 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, Emperor, A Fine Day to Die. That is so good. Lord Belial Massacre, Abyss, Armageddon, Marduk again. I never noticed that they're on there twice. Woman of Dark Desires, Niflheim, Die in Fire. Niflheim rules. Necrophobic, Enter the Eternal Fire, Dark Funeral again. Sacramentum, Unanimated, Satyricon, and War. Satyricon's Born for Burning. That to me is the highlight on the thing. And it came out on No Fashion and Hellspawn Records, and Hellspawn was like a short-lived label that David Parlin did from Dark Funeral.
Yep.
Love this tribute.
And you know the other backstory on this? Korthon and Boss threatened to sue Black Moon for using his likeness without permission. So they had to go through and block out his eyes and do this other shit because he didn't want to get sued. So, yep, there's that. Welcome to doing labels, bro.
Yeah. One thing I really like about a tribute to, it's not in this one, but there is one that we're getting to. is when the bands will like write a little blurb about like their relationship with the band. I really like that kind of insight. And verbiage.
It's a nice touch, and this booklet is really well done too, because there is, if I remember right, there is that in there. Yeah.
Niflheim, fuck off and die.
Yeah. Good pick.
I think Niflheim are going to have a new album this year, maybe.
Cool. Kind of long overdue, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Big time.
What about the band that one of the brothers did called Necro Curse? That was really good too.
I don't know it.
It's good. Good stuff. All right, Alan, you're up.
All right. Next one for me. When this one came out, I was really excited for it, and I thought it would deliver it pretty well. This was the tribute to Judas Priest.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, and this was split up over 2 volumes, but they came out about a year apart. Volume 1, which is this one with the red cover, was always a lot easier to find than Volume 2, which had more of a purple color for some reason. I don't know why the second volume wasn't as easy to track down. Just wasn't. But yeah, this one had a pretty good track list on it too. There's a few misses on here. Some of the better ones, Helloween covers Hellion and the Electric Eye. Let's see. Merciful Fate did Ripper. Fate's Warning did Saints in Hell, which was kind of cool. Let's see. Nevermore does a... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ben.
That's such a killer lineup already. Like sometimes it's amazing the bands, the caliber bands that they were able to get on these things.
Yeah. This one's got really A-list stuff. Testaments is on here. Strapping Young Lads on here. Nevermore does a very weird version of Love Bites. It's not bad, but now there's a good example of somebody covering a song, but really trying to, take the song and kind of reinvent it rather than just playing, more or less, a straightforward version of it. Overkill did Tyrant. My favorite on here actually was the Creator cover. They did a really good job on Grinder. I really like their version of Grinder. And Iced Earth was also on here with the Ripper. It was kind of a want moment because Iced Earth, Ripper. Again, a little before its time, but it just somehow I just felt a little weird because this was around the time Judas Priest was, it had Rip Owens and stuff, and the song in Iced Earth. It was just kind of a little wonky, and it's not the best cover on the album. But overall, yeah, it had a really solid track list to it. I played this one a lot when it came out.
Captain K, good question. Whenever bands on Bind Rune cover someone, you have to go on and buy the rights to it. Well, you not buy the rights to it, but you essentially pay a fee that you have to tell them how many you're going to press and what format it's going to be, and then you have to pay so much per album essentially. And it's not a ton of money. You can get it pretty cheap. It all depends on the band, whatever kind of deals they got worked out, but there's services you can get online, and for us it's just a few clicks and you pay the fee and you're good to go. So interesting.
Yeah, good question. There was a funny meme a couple of weeks ago on the internet. It was on an Australian website that's kind of their version of The Onion, I guess. And it basically was saying something like, Lars Ulrich sues 10-year-old for royalties after they sing Enter Sandman on TikTok.
Yeah,
it was just written in typical kind of Onion style. Little Johnny's been, says, I've been a fan of them forever, and I always dreamed of the day that Lars Ulrich would hit me with one of his bullshit lawsuits. Now my dream has come true.
Well,
conquered by White Claw.
Yeah. I am going. What's that? Go ahead.
Actually, no, you got the hard drink or whatever it is.
It's good. Long drink. Finish long drink.
You have a follow-up question, Marty?
It depends on the band. Whatever they have set up, and what did we do for what did I just do recently? I did Nemeris. They did a song. I can't remember the band. It was only like $70 or something like that. It might have been $100. I don't know, but the prices we paid haven't been exorbitant. They're fair, totally fair pricing, and you feel good doing it because you want to make sure the artist gets something. They're not getting fucking rich, especially off of us. But
yeah, I once emailed Peaceville because I wanted to do Under a Funeral Moon with Satan's Almighty Penis, and I emailed Peaceville, and they just said just pay ASCAP and you're good. And that's kind of as far as it went, I guess. Email them and find out how much they want.
And now there's services. I wish I knew the name of it off the top of my head. I'm sorry. I'd have to look it up. But there's a bunch of different online services that you just basically go through, click, say what you're doing, and it's super easy. You fill out a couple forms and it's all covered. So it's not hard to do. You don't even have to contact the band. You don't have to contact the label. You just go through these third parties and the money goes to where it's supposed to, supposedly. So okay, next up, I'm going to get this Helloween shit out of the system fully. I've already shown this earlier in a stream, but Tom from Cine Arcadia Productions sent me this, and I've been enjoying this as well. But this is a Catch the Rainbow, a tribute to Rainbow. And yes, it says features Uli Kush of Helloween. He's kind of the curator on here. And he's the main guy in the band, but he surrounds himself with other German artists, which basically is all of Helloween from that time. You got Ralph Sheppers from Primal Fear in here. Some other dudes. I don't know. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but it's fun. It's a really well done comp. The singing on it's great. The first couple songs, the cover of Stargazer is fantastic. The fact the first half of this is really, really, really good. Then it starts getting into Rainbow material that I don't like as much. They also get into some of the non-Dio era, which I kind of drop off after Dio on Rainbow. But Kill the King, 16th Century, Green Sleeve, Stargazer, Lost in Hollywood, Catch the Rainbow, I Surrender, Spotlight Kid, Man on the Silver Mountain, Rainbow Eyes, Eyes of the World, and Still I'm Sad. I mean, if you're a fan of German heavy metal and you're a fan of Helloween, it was during the time when Roland Grappow and Uli Kush were still in the band, and they were all happy time fun friends, but they're not so much anymore. But yeah, Catch the Rainbow, a tribute to a Rainbow, is a fun tribute as well. Thank you, Tom, again for sending that to me. I've enjoyed it endlessly. Thank you so much.
What a name, Uli Kush.
Uli Kush. You're next, Mr. Ben.
There's a nearby town where we live out in the country here, and I once found out about a former mayor of the town who got busted for selling weed. His name is Dick Summy. Dick Summy.
Dick Summy.
S-U-M-Y.
Yeah.
Can't get that in my head. Something different. Something even more different. Requiems of Revulsion, a tribute to Carcass.
Huh.
Awesome. Fucking awesome. I feel like I'm blowing my load all in the beginning here. I love it. I think some Carcass stuff is perfect. Some of it I kind of like hearing a more kind of cleaned up studio version of it. And also, I pretty much only like grind bands that are influenced by Carcass. I think that's kind of like the best stuff, right?
Yeah.
So we've got, obviously they're not all long songs, and there's 18 tracks on here. But Rotten Sound doing Recapitrefaction is a huge highlight for me. Hemorrhage, Nasm, Cattle Decapitation, Exhumed, Disgorged, Manchetazo, General Surgery. I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Necrony, of course. Impaled, Pig Destroyer, Vulgar Pigeons, which is kind of a sleeper hit. Body Sleep Broken, Engorged, Dead Infection, Avulsed, and then Regurgitate yet again. And that's just like every good grind band as far as, and it's kind of a spicy take, but like that's kind of the cream of the crop right there.
And all of them owe a lot to Carcass.
Oh yeah. This came out on
Aborted's not on there.
What's that?
I'm surprised that Aborted is not on there.
Yeah, I wonder if so this was around 2001. Death Vomit put this out. I think you should be able to find this for like $8 on Discogs or something, and it rules. Honestly, sometimes like, do you ever honestly reach for like a best of album? This is kind of a way to have like a best of, but kind of have it changed up a little different. Some of their songs are polished up and kind of cleaned up and made a little better. It doesn't have to be like, this is better than Carcass. I mean, it's an awesome other thing sometimes.
If the source material is solid and the bands that are covering the source material are inspired by the band, chances are it's going to be a good comp, a good tribute. If it's power metal bands covering Carcass songs, I don't think I want to hear that. Although it could be kind of funny.
Yeah. I don't need to hear this shit like recontextualized and made into anything else really.
Lost Horizon covering Ruptured Imperialance.
Yeah. Requiem of Revulsion. Love.
Never seen that one. Cool.
I haven't seen
So
that
it
one
was
either.
put out by Death Vomit, which was kind of like after Necropolis quit being Necropolis, they became Death Vomit, and they put out a couple of releases. This might be the only one I have from that era.
Yeah, they were
Not
running
sure.
in tandem for a while. The Death Vomit was supposed to be their more death metal minded label of the Necropolis force.
Yeah, and like if I was to put together a Carcass tribute, these are all the bands I would have on it. No problem.
You're pretty funny there, Simon. Pretty funny guy down there in Australia.
So I want to talk about Graveyard Classics when we get to the poop section of the video.
Funny guy down there in Australia. All right. Ellen, you're next.
All right. Well, moving away from the classic metal a little bit. This one I kind of stumbled into online years ago, and it was sort of oddball enough. It's like, yeah, I'll check that out. It's the Thurgothan tribute, Rising of Yog-Sothoth.
Oh,
And yeah, it's kind of a, it's a cool one. It's a funny one because Thurgothan, didn't have a very big catalog of, songs to choose from. And this is a really long comp. They basically, maxed it out and split it like volume 1, volume 2. And so basically you have most of the songs covered by two different bands. So you get like, two different versions of almost every Thurgothan song on this.
really?
Yeah, it's kind of a goofy way to build it, but it kind of works. It's neat to hear different bands take on the same tracks. Some of these bands I'm familiar with, some I'm not. Evoken is featured. Always really liked their take on Funeral Doom. They did Yet the Watchers Stand. Mournful Congregation covers Elemental. And then just, for example, let's see, Astral Sleep also does a rendition of, Yet the Watchers Guard. And Axis of Advance also does a cover version of Elemental. So you can hear...
Awesome.
Yeah, you can hear two different bands do a lot of these. So yeah, again, it was a good lineup, even though I wasn't familiar with all the bands. And it was just kind of a cool concept that since there were so few songs to choose from, they just kind of let a lot of bands pick the same song and each give their own spin on it. So it was kind of I kind of like the way they built that package up for a band that was cool, but just doesn't have a very deep catalog for bands to choose among.
Right on. Okay, well, I'm going to jump into Ben's Mojo here, and I have to thank him again for reminding me that I had a few holes in this band's catalog that needed filling, and he did so by sending me this tribute/comp called A Crack in the Sky, a tribute to William J. Samus. This is a Warlord tribute, and it is fucking killer. Oh my God. There's a lot of bands on here I've never heard of, but they cover, here they are. Mirror, Summerlands, Stray Gods, Twisted Tower, Dire, Claymorian, Eternal Champion, Aryan Path. Oh, that's a little suspect there. Forsaken, Firewolf, Steel Shock, Solitary, Sabrid, Wotan, Reflection, Galaxy, Comet Rider, and Socrates Leptos. The care and skill that went into covering these songs is really on display, and it's really well produced. It's good artwork. It's a well designed looking piece.
Yes.
Warlord, the thing that really sets them apart, other than the fact, they toiled for a lot of years. He was not a very prolific writer. But William, if you listen to Warlord, there's always like two guitar parts going on. He doubles everything. He doubles the solos. He doubles the riffs. There's a lot going on. And it's got, oh my God, who is the drummer? He was a
Mark
Zonder. Mark Zonder. Yeah. He's great on here. And on the one Warlord album, it's got that Joaquin, what's his name from
Hammerfall.
Hammerfall.
Yeah.
It's all good, man. All the Warlord stuff is excellent. When you start getting into the project he did with his wife, Lordian Guard, it's a bit of wasted potential. There's them doing a lot of demo versions of Warlord songs, some new songs here and there that still have that color and obvious lust for metal that William had, but produced really shitty.
The follow-through was abysmal.
Yeah, I was not a big fan of her vocals. They're underproduced. You could tell they were doing it in their bedroom. You know, they're singing into a 4-track or whatever, or their computer or whatever. It's kind of a cool passion project, but it's kind of wasted potential. There's so much that Warlord could have done. I think they really kind of started to take off overseas, and that's why there's so many bands that stepped up on this tribute that really did an awesome job, and you could tell there's love put into these covers, you know.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's a band that I wish they did more, and but the stuff they left behind is kind of iconic. It's amazing US power metal. If you've never heard Warlord, check them out, from Deliver Us to the couple others that they did. There's only three albums, 2 out. Well,
hardly.
They had
a comp, and I don't know. It's a mess.
The catalog's weird for Warlord. You've got a 6-track mini LP. You have one full-length album with a slightly different lineup, and then you have another full-length album, but it's kind of just, it rehashes a lot of tracks from other places and has like maybe a couple of originals. So yeah, it's a weird catalog.
Which is why I think this tribute album is just the perfect way to kind of say goodbye to Bill Sammis, because their discography was kind of a mess. They never really hit the ground the way they deserved to, but there's a lot of people who just would love to pay honor and tribute to the music and give them like the best effort in a studio with talented musicians. And so it kind of plays like the best Warlord album there could possibly be.
Yep. Really good stuff. It's thank you again, Ben. You nailed it on that one. I've listened to this a lot, and it made me realize I was missing some stuff, and I picked it up and been enjoying all the Warlord stuff for sure.
It's also available on vinyl. The label was Pitch Black. I did a review of this on my channel, which I was pretty proud of. I did like a kind of a run through of their discography because it's confusing. And some of the songs on here are from Lordian Guard, and some are on Warlord. Also, you might not know this. Here's a little known fact. The last Obsequiae album was almost featuring Mark Zonder on drums.
Oh, really?
Really? Wow, I did not know that.
Would have been interesting. I've been trying to put Tanner to work with Paris from Concilium and Mark Zonder and some kind of like trad metal, heavy metal kind of thing.
That'd be fun.
You heard it here first.
little deep look into the behind the scenes. All right, Ben, you're up.
I am up. Okay. So here's a band I don't really care a whole lot for, but some of these covers are pretty good. This tribute is kind of a scattershot mess, but it's, I think, something a lot of fans might get a kick out of. Celtic Frost. Another 12 Records. 12 Records is sponsoring us tonight, so thanks, 12. I don't know. This came out maybe like 98 or so.
I got mine as a promo. It still has a sticker on it saying Tom G. Warrior interviews available.
There's this running joke on my channel where every time I look down to see what year something came out in, it's not there.
Yeah, and this is a good comp.
Yeah, Morgion, Enslaved, weird. Slaughter, which I'm not sure which Slaughter that.
I believe it's the Canadian Slaughter.
Okay. So Mayhem, this is the reason I got it, because this was the first time Mayhem recorded anything after Euronymous had been slain. Inner Thought, which I don't really know anything about. Sadistic Intent, I think that makes a lot of sense. They do Return to the Eve. Cyanide, duh. Dawn of Megiddo. Divine Eve, also, duh. Grave? That's kind of weird. Apollyon's Son, which isn't that Tom G's side project or something?
Oh yeah.
Opeth. I haven't listened to this in a really long time.
The reason why Slaughter and Inner Thought are on this comp is because Inner Thought was signed to Dwell Records.
There you go.
Inner Thought was basically the remnants of Slaughter. Anyway.
This is rounded out by 13 doing Triumph of Death. 13 were a really short-lived New York kind of sludgy doom band. One of the members went on to be an Electric Wizard. 13 were awesome, and they have just a shit ton of singles and demos and EPs and splits and things. Yeah.
Nice.
And also, isn't the booklet in this thing kind of elaborate?
It is. It's nice.
The artwork on this thing is also lewd and awesome. God damn. That is filthy.
All right.
I gotta put this in. I gotta hear Grave covering Celtic Frost. That sounds weird to me.
Which one they did Mesmerized with? Oh, they even actually kind of covered the vocals the same way too, which it kind of threw me for a loop if I remember right. All right, yeah, Alicia was in 13, Candyman.
Ah.
All right, Alan, you're back.
Okay, something to touch on that. Again, folks are chatting about a lot of cool stuff over here to the side. And just so folks know, I think Ben mentioned before, but Ben can't really see the chat with his setup currently. So yeah, if you're asking him questions or something, don't be miffed. He's not ignoring you. If you post something and Marty or I catch it, we'll try to get up on the screen so Ben can see it.
Yeah.
But Tim brought up a good point. Yeah, no, this was just a general thing Tim brought up a minute ago was cover songs. It's interesting because there's a fine line you have to walk. If you make your cover version too similar to the original, everyone's kind of like, well, what was the point? It just sounds exactly like the original. But at the same time, if you start tinkering with the song too much and make it too crazy weird out there, then it doesn't even sound like the song you were covering. And why didn't you just write your own song? So I hear people complain both ways about cover songs sometimes that, they didn't make it different enough, or that, that cover is just way, way, way too different. And so when you think about it, though, there's kind of a real narrow lane there to try to fall into to balance those two things. It was just a good point that Tim brought up. I thought
I do want to back up to the chat for 1 second. Metal Mayhem Steve mentioned the vinyl version comes out on September 9th. I'm assuming he's meaning that Warlord comp.
Oh, really? Okay, awesome.
So that's coming up. Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no worries. All right, I'm going to jump off the full tribute albums at this point. Yeah, I could dredge up a couple others, that had some stuff I liked on it, but rather than do that, I'm going to switch over to some important. I'm going to do a couple of tribute bands here. These are not direct. I'm not talking about someone who's just a Guns N' Roses cover band, but rather bands that really kind of zero in on one particular band sound or style and just run with it kind of unashamedly. And the first one I thought I'd bring up is kind of an odd take on this. It's a band called Roxcalibur. And basically, these are just, known musicians who do nothing but cover new wave of British heavy metal songs.
I think, isn't Nudie from Manila Road the drummer on that?
Yep, Nudie is involved in it, and he's pretty involved in like the liner notes and stuff, if I remember right, too. But a couple of these are here. I think they've done at least one more album. But yeah, these are just guys that really like new wave of British heavy metal. So every song is just an old new wave of British heavy metal track they like. They do pretty good takes on most of them, and they do a pretty good job of digging around, finding some, at least semi-obscure tracks. It's not just covering Iron Maiden or Motorhead or Def Leppard. Let's find some examples here. For example, they've got a cover of Running for the Line from JJ's Powerhouse, killer track. They cover Gates of Gehenna, old Cloven Hoof classic. They do 7 Days of Splendor, Jameson Raid. That band's always had a cult following. Just lots of crazy stuff like that. They even got permission from Saxon to do an unfinished Saxon song that apparently on some old bootleg rehearsal Saxon tape that had been floating around, there was a song Saxon had worked on but only got like halfway done, and the people that had the tape always thought, wow, that's really cool, wish you guys had finished it. Biff was never going to go back and finish it. So some of these guys asked, like, would you care if we took a stab at finishing off that song? And they got permission from Biff to do it. And they actually came up with something pretty cool. They made it into a really pretty kick-ass song. So, just doing lots of kind of, fun oddball stuff like that. They're not interested in, that's the closest they've come to writing any original new material. They're just, trying to, keep interest, pay respects, whatever you want to call it, pay tribute to all these new wave of British heavy metal bands that had a big impact on musicians in the earliest 80s, but never really got over the hump themselves. They released 1 or 2 singles, quickly disappeared. Now people like Frank and myself spend hours on a Friday night bidding on their records and crying into our keyboards over and over and over. But so yeah, if you want to check out some, just kind of an overview of some cool new wave of British heavy metal stuff without having to worry about, I don't know which fucking band is on which fucking compilation or whatever, you can just get one of these Roxcalibur albums and get, a decent sampling of what kind of stuff the scene was about. So it's kind of a fun project.
I bet that's a lot of fun if you don't feel like writing songs, but you just kind of feel like jamming with your buddies. I bet that's a ton of fun to do.
Yeah, I'm sure that's exactly how it came up too. Just, guys that liked, the same old kind of stuff, jam on it, for fun, for practice. And it's like, hey, well, why don't we put these out? It's it's a good way to kind of, keep that music alive as well.
Sorry, Jürgen, my German pronunciation is shite.
Scheisse. And yes, Frank, that one, that one is, they've got some very Praying Mantis style art. Definitely hints back to the old Praying Mantis albums, the way they did some of the artwork.
It's very cool art.
Yep, indeed. Yeah, so that's my first sort of take on a tribute band for the evening. So now, again, Marty, Ben may have more, actual tribute albums they want to show. That's absolutely fine. I just
I've got a handful more here.
That's absolutely fine. Yeah, sorry for veering off track, maybe a little early, but I know you guys have more cool tribute albums to show than I do.
All right, I'm going to stick with Bathory here. This is kind of a recent-ish one. Folkvanger Records put this out. It's called A Tribute to Bathory, Lords of the North. This thing is, I've listened to it a couple times, and if I remember right, which one was it? Oh, I thought someone on here. Okay, I'm talking out my ass. This isn't the one I thought it was, but this is a decent comp. Very cool artwork done by Folkvanger. We've got
great label.
Yeah, Run Unrequited. Oh my God, Escapism, Bjorn's Hall, Daro Dwell. I can't pronounce half this shit. Forefather, Who Rule, 1476, Windfarer, Lost, Ragos, Ulfsang. Oh yeah, that's it. The Ulfsang song, The Lake. That is like one of my all-time favorite Bathory songs, and they fucked with it big time. And the way they fucked with it, it's creative, but it kind of pissed me off, and it actually made me turn off the comp. Mm-hmm. Thankfully, it was the second to the last song, but they kind of went a little too artsy fartsy with it, and it really, because that song is fucking awesome. I love that song, my favorite Quorthon song, and they kind of fucked it up. Funerary Descent. So it's a pretty solid stuff. There's a good mix of black metal and Viking era on here. And this is probably still available. It came out on tape first, and he followed with the CD a little bit later. But this is a really good comp, other than my impression of the Lake cover by Ulfsang. Again, it's talented. It's just not what I wanted that to happen to that song. So I mean, that's totally on me. It's not on the band. It's cool. The artistic license is definitely cool, but definitely a fun comp. Check it out. Good artwork. Good label. Very active label. Puts out a lot of cool tapes.
That's cool. Yeah, that's kind of what we talked about earlier. Sometimes you just tweak the song too much, and you can kind of lose the spirit of the original song too. Yep.
Totally. anytime Marty says that he's pissed off about something being too arty farty, I'm like, I need to check that out.
Yeah, that's one of the best songs, man, and you fucked it up. I don't know. All right, Ben.
Darkness has fallen upon us. So the perfect time for Darkthrone.
This is a great tribute. It's really good.
If there's only like one tribute album in your collection, this ought to be it. If you're a black metal fan like I am,
and you like Darkthrone, yeah, this is definitely.
Oh, damn!
You really can't get a more authentic portrayal of these songs than what these bands did, other than maybe the Thorns. The Thorns cover is a little out there as well, but he's kind of out there. Yeah, it's cool.
So Satyricon with Catharian Life Code, Enslaved doing Natasha and Eternal Sleep, which is the only pooper on the album. Thorns doing Pagan Winter.
Wait, why do you think that Enslaved is the pooper? I thought Grudela kind of crushed it on that. The vocals on it were just really harsh.
Again, like I don't want to hear Peter Takrin production on a fucking.
Oh, here it is. There it is.
Bloodhem fucking sucks.
All right.
We just got Helloween and Pete Tatgrigan worked into the first hour. Well,
that's right. We're one trick ponies here.
I was keeping an eye on it. It was close. But
we protect our own.
Fuck Peter Tatgrigan. Dude, Emperor covering Cromlech from Soulside Journey.
Killer.
Mind blowing.
Yep.
So good. Dothemsgard doing the only good song on Goat Lord, Green Cave Float. I listened to that. There's
a charm to that record. I like it.
I was listening to a Blazing in the Northern Sky the other day with commentary on from Fenris, which is essential. Their whole discography is done with commentary. It's magnifique. I didn't know that there are a lot of parts from Goat Lord that were worked into a Blazing in the Northern Sky. Didn't even realize that.
Huh.
But then Gehenna doing Transylvanian Hunger, which is really, really good. Gorgoroth, Slotet, Idet Fierne. And then Immortals to Walk the Infernal Fields. That's tugging at my heartstrings right there.
No Peter Tatgrigan on that one.
Fuck him!
Here's a show for you, Marty.
Oh. Wow. Yeah, that would be one to get drunk and heckle.
How many times can you yell Freebird?
Fuck this!
Like this is just making a case for tribute albums. Like I don't understand how you couldn't love hearing these bands cover Darkthrone songs. It's fucking great.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good call.
I think a tribute album is every bit as enjoyable as if you go to see a show and the band does a cover of the last end of their set or something.
And they're all Norwegian bands, and they're all, obviously Darkthrone is all their peers, and it's like they do a great job. It's cool. It's a cool cover. It's a cool comp. It's not like they're covering, fucking Judas Priest or anything. It's the right climate on this, the correct formula.
Like a well curated playlist is really like the key to making a tribute album great. The performances, the recordings, of course, are also pretty important, but picking the right fucking bands is just where it's at. That's where the value is in this stuff.
Yeah. Agreed. All right, Alan.
Let's see. All right. So I will stick to the sort of tribute band path here and give a little shout out to the band Orchid.
Right back.
Orchid is very much just copying what Black Sabbath did in the very early days. The song titles are very, very similar. There's nothing subtle or hidden about it. The tracks are all meant to be, classic Black Sabbath worship, but not just worship. I mean, really copying, but not plagiarizing. There is a fine line there. This band is still writing their own songs. They're not just taking every single riff and every single lyric and, changing two things about it. This is the kind of thing that could go very wrong.
Yes.
There are other bands, that, are kind of, Sabbath knockoffs that I have no interest in. for whatever reason, I've always found Orchid to do it quite well. The thing I'm holding up here, it's a compilation. It has their first album, Capricorn, and also an early EP spliced together. The Capricorn album in particular, their first full length, is just really, really solid, very fun. It's the perfect thing to listen to when you want to hear old Black Sabbath, but you're just tired of hearing Paranoid. With that kind of band, long-term fans, we sometimes do get to the point where we've just heard them enough. And it's just like, I just don't want to spin, the self-titled Black Sabbath album right now, but I want something in that vein.
Exactly.
Orchid fills that role extremely well. It sounds like something that could be, really fly by night. But, several years ago, last car I owned that had a CD player in it, there were only about 5 discs that I just kept in the car permanently, so that, I always had something. I knew I always would have something to listen to on the commute. And it was, kind of like have one power metal album, one thrash album, one speed album, one doom album. And Orchid's Capricorn was sort of, the 70s stonery, doomy thing that I kept in the car. So I played, the shit out of it and never really got tired of it. It's just very well done. They're not trying to do anything original. They're not pretending that they're doing anything original, but they are very, very good at emulating that classic Sabbath sound. And so,
hey, Jeff,
Orchid works just fine for me. They did a second album, At the Mouths of Madness, which is also pretty good. I have not seen a third one from them. I don't know what their current status is, but those albums are worth checking out if you're in that boat of, you're just a little worn out on the classic Sabbaths, but you want something in that same wheelhouse. Give Orchid a spin, and it may miss. You may think it's too derivative, not really what you want, but for me, they get the job done nicely.
Alex says, check out Necromandus, Alan, if you like that stuff.
I've got that Necromandus. I haven't played it in ages, but I do have that digitally. I bought it when they had it as a digital download available on site. So several. That's a good shout out too. Thanks, Alex.
Immolation. Fate. Whoa. Huh.
Yeah.
I love that Heavy Metallurgy is like a symposium of nerds where it's okay to show all you got.
That is why we are here.
Bring out your nerds. Bringing them out.
That actually was a working title for this show for a while. Nerd Symposium. Somebody said that wasn't heavy enough.
That wasn't cool enough, man. We're better than that. We don't want to be too obvious here. Come on.
What it really came down to is we didn't want to have merchandise with a giant NS on it. That we realized was probably going to be a deal breaker. So we went with Heavy Metallurgy instead, and probably the right call. I'm man enough to admit it.
Definitely. We would have been attracting the wrong crowd at that point.
Tonight on NS, Alan talks about Rock's Caliber and new wave of British heavy metal singles.
All these people in the chat are assholes.
Who's this band Sieg Heil everyone keeps talking about? Did they have a single on Neat Records with Venom? No.
Der Strudel, who's that?
No, goddammit, it's not an Oi band. It's new wave of British heavy metal. Don't you know the difference? Man, these guys really like their weird punk.
Well, before I finish up the Bathory tributes, I will jump, since we're kind of, me and Ben are on a Norwegian tangent, I'll pull up this decent Dwell Records comp, a tribute to Mayhem. This is a pretty damn solid comp too, and a lot of Immortal again doing From the Dark Past, Dark Funeral doing Pagan Fears, Vader doing Freezing Moon, who really do a pretty damn good job on it.
Oh, that's killer. That's the highlight right there.
Yeah, Emperor, Funeral Fog, Behemoth doing Carnage, Limbonic Art doing De Mysterious Dom Satanas, Keep of Kalessin doing Buried by Time and Dust, Gorgoroth doing Life Eternal, Carpathian Forest doing Ghoul, Seth, which is weird having a French band on here, doing Into the Labyrinth, Gehenna doing Cursed in Eternity, and Absu ending it with Death Crush, which, God, I'm just so burnt out on that song. I'm not a big Death Crush album fan. I don't think Mayhem got good until De Mysterious, to be honest. But this is a really solid comp. What'd you say, Ben?
Hard agree. Yeah.
I mean, people like hold that up to such, and it's just a shitty punk album, kind of. I don't know. I could care less about that record. But anyway, yeah, solid comp from Dwell. They got it right on this one, and it's a pretty damn good lineup. Some really killer bands like Vader. The Vader does kill. Peter does. He kills the Attila vibe on that for sure. Awesome. Yeah. Good comp.
And,
check out
the highlight. Another highlight on here is that Attila joins Emperor for Funeral Fog, and that was before he actually rejoined Mayhem. Back in 2010 or so. I thought that was really cool, and then he was just like, you know what, I'll stay.
Yeah, that's cool. Definitely. All right, Ben, you're back.
Well, let's just kind of do two. Honestly, another Mayhem tribute to Neuronymous, Necropolis Records. So this is kind of a different kind of tribute.
I had that one too.
Like a cover album, but some of it is. It's very, very weird. But it was really like, this was a bookmark of like Scandinavian black metal reaching the shores of the United States and being released on a US label, and working with bands like Abruptum, Mayhem, Dissection, Emperor, Mysticum, Marduk, Thorns, Ophthalmia, Enslaved, Arcturus, and Mortis.
Do people actually like Abruptum? I just wanted to ask that question.
You know, it's
every Abruptum I ever heard, I thought was pretty shitty. But you know,
when you're in mood with your lady and you're getting kind of fresh and you want to find like just the right thing, it's the wrong thing to put on.
After reading Dan Swano saying while they were recording one of their albums, they tried to torture it, and basically it was him underneath a couch with two other guys sitting on the couch. Yeah, I mean, is that torture? I don't know. And then they put a mic down there, hear him go, "Oh, let me out!" I don't know.
Yeah, I heard they just tried to get him to eat too many Hot Pockets, and that was torture.
A short guy under a couch. I mean, that's not that torturous, I guess. Maybe it could be.
Abruptum are like, I have all their stuff, and I've always kind of meant to go back and like reconsider them in a way, because it never really touched a nerve for me back in the day.
There's someone lurking behind Ben now. That is dark. Yep. It's Peter Takrin. He caught wind. He caught wind of all the fucking slander. He's gonna reenact the fucking the Scandinavian torture and murder.
Okay.
All right.
So, you know, Peter Takrin has shared my video on his social media.
He did.
He did, and an interviewer asked him about it, and he called me an idiot. So.
Well, at least he's cool enough to show it. I mean, he could take it. Yeah, he could take it out. All right, Alan, you're next.
All right. Well, let's see. Let's do tribute band number 3. This is one that Marty and I are pretty familiar with. Helloween only did one album called Walls of Jericho back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
And then they switched styles. And so years later, another bunch of Germans would sort of hit on the brilliant idea of, why don't we just make another Walls of Jericho? Because that album is awesome. But, kind never really followed up on that style. And so Storm Warrior was born.
I'm missing a couple, but I got a good chunk of them here.
I got a big stack of them on the shelf. I think I've got everything plus like the demos and EP collection somewhere. But this is a band doing their best to create Walls of Jericho Part 2 and largely succeeding at it.
That's their best album too, by the way. The debut's their best album.
I don't know.
I think so.
It's the one that's closest to Walls of Jericho for sure, but I don't know. North From Here is awfully good. The most recent one is really, really good too. But yeah, this one is really strong as well, and it works because they're doing it extremely well, but it also works because there really wasn't a lot of material that sounded exactly like Walls of Jericho. Helloween, switched vocalists, and that had a huge effect on their sound by the time Keeper of the Seven Keys came out. And as such, this was one of those Walls rather was one of those kind of unique albums that always was sort of begging for someone to follow up on it. And Storm Warrior said, "We're the guys who can copy that album and make you love us for doing so." And yeah, they've had pretty long discography at this point. They got at least 6 studio albums, I want to say, plus or minus one. So they've been at it. Later albums now, they don't just keep churning out Walls of Jericho.
I'm only missing one then.
After a couple albums, they they do start to vary things a little bit. There's more of a running wild sound on some albums than Helloween. Yeah, but Kai Hansen was also involved with this project. He played with the guys. He helped them with the album. So this certainly wasn't a matter of these guys aping Helloween sound and causing some kind of feathers to be ruffled. Guy was just like, yeah, sure, that sounds great. Here, let me lend a hand. Absolutely. So
I think he co-produced that album, and he sang on a couple tracks too.
Yep, he handed them that pumpkin, and they took it and they ran with it. And
it's really, if you go online, there's a festival, an open air festival where Storm Warrior is playing, and Hanson comes out and they do Ride the Sky. They nail it note for note. It sounds fucking amazing. It's perfect. Yep. Perfect.
Yeah, and what Melissa's alluding to, the Storm Warrior came over and played Prog Power in Atlanta around 2010, you give or take a year. I don't remember exactly when, but so she and I got to see them live, and they crushed it. Yeah, that was one of the only bands that weekend where like the band before Storm Warrior was already just like, hold my beer and go elbow my way right up to the edge of the stage now and stake my claim, because I want a good hard look at this one. It was one of the main reasons we went that year, was to see Storm Warrior, and they definitely delivered.
Fun drinking game. Every time this guy says the word warrior in the lyrics, you drink. By song 2, you're alcoholic poisoning, call 911.
I actually sat down and did the numbers on it. On one of their albums, they use not just when they say it, but
it might have been this one.
In the song titles alone, across the first 5 albums, I think the word Odin, Warrior, or Valhalla appears in something like 39% of the song titles. And I'm not making that number up. I actually
38%. 38%.
I sat and did the no. I'm not. It's not a 38% made up number. It's a 30. I sat down and counted, but it's been a couple of years since I did it. But one of those 3 words literally appears in. I think it was I did Odin, Warrior, Valhalla. I might have allowed sword too. So
here you've got Odin's Warriors, so that's a double drink right there. You're fucked. You're fucked on album 2.
Yep. Yeah, but it's Viking power metal, which works quite well. It's the kind of thing that could wear thin, but I still like what they do.
And Jürgen, I think I've seen. Go ahead, say that again, Ben.
You can power metal anything.
That's right. Jürgen, I think I've seen some of those shows on YouTube, and they're doing all the old stuff, the EP, and it's cool. It's a lot of fun.
Indeed. Yep. Now, Marty, I'm leaving the door open for you to cover another particular tribute band. So you've got a window if you'd like that, sir.
I don't know which one you're speaking of, so I'm
sure you have no clue whatsoever. But if you're not careful, that ship is going to sail before you get to. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Oh, that one. yeah,
yes,
I got
that one. Goddamn it!
I've got that the stack. I thought you'd cover it. Yeah,
I'm just saying, it's floating up to the top of my stack. If you wanted to cover it, though,
go ahead. And Rick just dropped the ball, or just let the cat out of the bag. Which one you're talking of? I think.
You see, Rick. You see, there's this thing called professional courtesy, Rick. You don't spoil somebody else's video in the middle of their video, Rick.
Well, this one is.
Go ahead, Marty. I want to talk to Rick in the chat over here. Explain.
I've listened to this once. It's Hellas Salutes the Vikings, Metal Invaders Bathory tribute. This has got a bunch of Greek bands. I mean, you got Zemiel doing Armageddon. You've got Cower doing Sadist. I can't read the font on the Order of the Ebon Hand. I don't know. A bunch of bands that I'm marginally familiar with. I remember I kept it, so it must not have been terrible. That's all I'm going to say about this comp. Not a lot of insight on this one, other than I kept it, so it must not suck, but yeah, fun. Oh, there's probably some sketch on here. I don't know, whatever. There it is. The last of my Bathory tributes. Ben, you're back.
Okay, well, I've got some real choice cuts still left here.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm gonna hope that you're gonna show this one, and maybe that won't be a double here. But Satanic Slaughter.
Yep, I don't have that one. That's a Dwell one, isn't it? No, that's a
Candlelight, but I want to say this was originally a Black Sun release.
Okay.
It's very Swedish oriented, so yeah, I think they originally did that, and then Candlelight reissued this. But holy shit, like I think Slayer are a perfect band for covering. Super influential band. They're super fun to play, and they gave birth to a lot of bands who just furthered everything to a more extreme level. And this is like very, very Eurocentric. In fact, just it might be all Swedish bands as far as I can tell. But Dissection covering Antichrist, that for me, that is one of the best covers I've ever heard. Holy shit. We got Merciless, At the Gates, Invocator, Enslaved, Edge of Sanity doing Criminally Insane. That one right there is choice.
Boy, Enslaved really made the rounds on these, didn't they? They're on like 4 of them we've shown tonight.
Yeah. Seance doing Postmortem fucking rips.
Oh, nice.
Is there Fuck on here?
Oh, yeah.
Cemetery, Crown of Thorns, and Grope? I don't really know Grope. And then so they put that one out, and then there was like a separate compendium part 2. Necrophobic, Luciferion again doing Chemical Warfare, awesome. Cradle of Filth doing Hell Awaits. Cradle of Filth is not a band I want to hear covering Slayer. That's just too far.
I don't know. I really want to hear them really anyway. I don't know. Go ahead.
We got Sinister, Praise of Death, Benediction, Liars in Wait, Angel of Death is really, really good. Coffin Man, I don't know what that is, but Malevolent Creation doing Raining Blood is really fun. Vader, Anathema, I don't remember how that is on here, but Unanimated, and then Disaffected. I'm not sure what Disaffected here, but that's where they are.
Ben, what track did Anathema cover?
Read Between the Lies.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Yeah. That was not a band I thought you were going to name.
I just struggle with these extreme bands doing pseudo pitch vocals, man. I've heard a lot of those covers, some of those covers, like the Dissection one, and it's good. It's just not right. It's not right. It's not right in my brain. No.
I would never have listened to Slayer if I wouldn't have heard Dissection covering Antichrist. Let's just say that.
Right on. We're a decade or so difference in age. I heard Slayer first. But yeah.
And like my friends, when I was getting into metal, they didn't really fuck with Slayer. They were just like, nah, that's old man stuff. And like, I'm not bowing at the throne of Slayer whatsoever, but they were amazing. They were formative. They were a pivotal band, and they're worth covering and paying tribute to.
Mm-hmm. I agree. All right. Who's next? Alan's next.
Yeah. Rick, you've redeemed yourself with that. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good one.
We're cool now. Okay. One more band on sort of the list of copycat bands, but worthwhile copycat bands is this one. Running Wild, of course, had a very long and excellent run of German power metal albums, but at the tail end of the 90s, heading into the 2000s, they did kind of start to crap the bed just a little bit. Ralph had some trouble keeping a lineup. The albums got a little mechanical sounding. He kind of gave up on the speed aspect of it a bit. And even though they had a long catalog of excellent albums, fans were really kind of pining for, oh geez, why won't Ralph do another old school Running Wild album? So these guys over in Sweden like, well, we can do that, and thus came Blazing Stone. These guys are just trying their darndest to be Running Wild circa the early
doing a good job. They're doing a good job at it.
They do a fine job with it. Absolutely.
The latest one, Damnation, is quite good.
All their albums are very solid. They've got about 4 or 5 studio albums now, plus a live
Of course,
album.
I've got all their albums and the live album, half of them which are still in the shrink wrap out in my shop. I have not listened to yet, but yeah.
Yeah, they've got a good discography. So again, if you really love, classic 90s Running Wild, but you're just a little tired of playing Pile of Skulls over and over again, Blazing Stone is a great one to check out. Now, with this kind of band too, I will say, these kind of acts aren't for everybody, because there are, some folks just like, I really don't like the idea of some band directly aping what someone else did. Why would I ever want to listen to this kind of knockoff version when I can just hear the original version? And hey, that's perfectly okay too. In Running Wild's case, you do have a ton of good Running Wild albums to play without needing a Blazing Stone album. But if this is really your kind of jam and you just want to expand the collection, the Blazing catalog is great for that. Storm Warrior, I think, is a little easier to swallow in that sense, because there really wasn't a lot of material like Walls of Jericho. Whereas Running Wild, you've got Under Jolly Roger, you've got Port Royal, you've got Death or Glory, you've got Blazing Stone, you've got Pile of Skulls. I can keep going, but I think everybody gets my point. The world would be okay if Blazing Stone hadn't done their thing, but they are very, very good at it. And yeah, it is a worthwhile project, as long as you don't mind the fact that it is just a Running Wild clone. They're not the only Running Wild clone. I didn't pull any others, but there have been former Running Wild members that have done very similar projects. X Wild was one of them. There's at least one other I'm forgetting. It's not Savage Land. It's something else. Anyway, yeah, there are other Running Wild has been copied by more than just Blazing Stone over the years.
And Alex is right. Rock-A-Rollers is the same label and shares members with Blazing Stone. Rock-A-Rollers is the Judas Priest band, obviously, and that shit also rules. I've got like 4 of their CDs now, and they're quite good. They're
Folks
really
have
good.
recommended that one to me, and I just haven't got around to checking it out. But yeah, I've heard good things about Rock-A-Rollers too.
Yep. All right,
Marty. What you got next?
I'm still hammering away on these tributes before I even get to the bands yet, but we'll.
But okay. Yeah, like I said, I jumped ship there a little early on that, but that's okay too. We've all got different amounts of different things here.
The long defunct, short-lived Twilight Records put out a Made in America Iron Maiden tribute and American metal compilation.
Huh.
It makes me wonder if Mr. Chris Black, who we've had on the show, cheers to you, Chris, had a lot to do with this. You've got Pharaoh covering Aces High, Omen covering Murders in the Rue Morgue, which is apropos. That early Omen stuff, there's a lot of Maidenism in that shit. Final Prayer doing Killers, Born of Fire doing Remember Tomorrow, Twisted Tower Dire doing Power Slave, Burning Inside Genghis Khan, and of course Dawnbringer doing Heaven Can Wait. That whole album, Chris, why that fucking song? Equinox doing Wrathchild, Edenrot, Hallowed Be Thy Name, Sadist doing Invaders, and Sculpture doing Iron Maiden. 2 CD set. It's fun. It was a keeper because I know some of the people on this thing. Fun. I haven't spun this thing since it came out, so I'll be completely honest with you. Yeah, not a lot of spins, but still kind of fun to put on the shelf next to Iron Maiden. Ben,
hello.
You're next.
To just give a quick rebuttal to your Wednesday album club, and I think Time Does Not Heal is the ultimate Dark Angel album, and I own a copy of Leave Scars, and I've never even listened to it.
I think it's better than Time Does Not Heal, but
really,
I don't know. Yeah, I think it's a little bit. I think it's a little more, a slight bit more focused.
The production's a lot worse, but the songs feel a little more varied.
It's not that anybody knew
Leave Scars.
Garbage singer.
What'd you say?
I always thought that everybody, the whole community's opinion was that Ron Reinhardt was a shitty singer.
I don't know. I don't mind his vocals. I don't know.
I think it's tolerable, and Don Doty's maybe a little bit more choice, but there's some fucking realize that we are the new priesthood. Yeah. Yeah.
There's something here for you, Ben, up on the screen. I don't know what that means, but
Disaffected Portugal, Prague Atmos. My next pick, I put this on today. It is sometimes really great and sometimes pretty awful. This band deserves just a really great tribute, and that's the thing I want to like at the end when we maybe run out of these ideas. Let's talk about bands that deserve tributes, that maybe they are out there but we don't know about them, or like let's get this happening. Or we could also ponder like what bands we would love to hear covering what bands. Pretty cool idea. So here's a tribute to Creator.
ha! I had that too. I have the promo of it though, but yeah.
A lot of promos in the collection. So you would think that this would be fucking stacked with the best bands. You would think this would be something that like media might put out or Combat or what have you. But Full Moon Productions put this out. That's why I wore this shirt today. So it's a really weird, and also it's like it's not necessarily bands that would ordinarily work with Full Moon as far as in my memory. Black Witchery does Tormentor starting off the thing, which is fucking awesome. Black Witchery does maybe better covers than they do originals. Morbid Angel cover that fucking slays me. I love that thing. But then we got Christian doing Total Death, which makes a lot of sense. But I can't really tell if this may have been recorded maybe before Black Force Domain or something. It's really, really crappy sounding. It doesn't have like the oomph or the power that you would want Christian to have. That's one of my favorite death metal bands. But Sentinex doing Ripping Corpse is really good. Then Goddess of Desire, which Angel Corpse, Pleasure to Kill. That's one of my favorite covers of all time.
They're so good.
Pazuzu? You guys ever heard of Pazuzu? I need to look this up.
The name, but don't know much about them.
Really good. They do Living in Fear. And then Mystifier, Storm of the Beast. And I didn't remember this until I put this on today, but there's clean vocals on their cover of this song. Did Creator ever have clean vocals?
Not until Endorama or later. Not until later. And it's not really super clean. It's just kind of shouted, you know.
Yeah. So
not on Storm of the Beast. Well, Ventor's vocals were kind of cleanish. Kind of.
Yeah.
And Storm of the Beast is off of their first one, isn't it? Yeah.
We got Hemlock, which I'm not really a fan of. Asheron doing Flag of Hate. That's really good. And then they end it with Pessimist doing the Pestilence, which is really good. So it's kind of half-assed. It's kind of charming.
That's not even on my promo. The Pestilence is not even, or the Pestilence is not even on here.
There's a bonus from a version that I'm not likely to have a copy of. Like,
fucking Thorns ripped me off, man.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So it's really half-assed done. Some of the stuff is really, really great and like deserves to be put out there. But I feel like Creator could deserve like a really, really well curated tribute. Come on, Century Media.
All right.
Marty, who would be your top pick for who you would want to hear covering Creator? On the spot.
Hypnosia.
Ooh. They do a Possessed cover on their LP version of Extreme Hatred.
Ah, right on. It's same ballpark.
Yeah. Yeah, Hypnosia. Oh.
I've got two more Dwell Records comps. I'm just gonna knock them out right now.
Okay.
I'm just gonna get it out of here. I was on the Dwell Records promo list, so I got a lot of their garbage. But
I still have more stuff to go.
oh, right on. Okay, well, I'll take my time then, because there's still I'm dwindling down here. We've got a really piss poor cover art. It looks like they're just kind of throwing money at whoever has Photoshop at this point. This is really bad. This is Armageddon, a tribute to destruction. And
there's a tribute.
Yep. We got 10 songs. Cauldron doing Bestial Invasion, Draconis doing United by Hatred, Evil Incarnate, who turned out to be shitheads, doing Tormentor, Nocturne doing Devil Soldiers. Abominant doing Curse the Gods. Cheers to you, Mike. The Chasm doing Death Trap, which was really cool. Mad Butcher doing Sanctorum, which is, Mad Butcher is perfect to be there. As far as tribute bands go, Mad Butcher is pretty much, very much a tribute band, a destruction tribute band. Confound Games doing Soulless, Total Disaster doing Infamy, and The Ritual doing Diabolic. A bunch of bands never really heard of before. You've got entry level design going on here. Yeah. Never listened to this since it came in, and this came in 2002. So I listened to this I skipped around, listened to the Chasm and a couple other bands that interest me and put it on the shelf, and it's been sitting there rotting ever since. So there you go. Armageddon, a tribute to destruction. Get it while it's hot.
I wouldn't fan with that painted on the side of it.
Yeah. Right. They had to like Photoshop out the unicorn just to get the logos up at the top. All right. Ben, you're back. Do we skip? No, we're good.
This came out a couple of years ago, and this was it had been a long time since I had even thought about buying a tribute album.
Dude, if this is what I think it is, I'm kind of jelly because this is a really cool thing.
I thought I don't know if this is rare or not really, but
that's cool though. I wish I had it. I think I have a download of it. I did have a download of it. It's good.
So it's 3 discs, a tribute to Summoning.
Yeah, that's sweet.
It's long. 3
fucking discs, but yeah.
Yeah, and it's fun to kind of swim around and all of this stuff. Now, I don't listen to Summoning so much that I'm like super familiar with this one is from this album, yada 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 yada. But I would say maybe 2 discs would be maybe worth it. Highlights though, there are some bands that I didn't really know anything about that I discovered through this. I'm drunk, so I can't really remember what they are, but it's worth tracking down. I can't remember the name of the label that put this guy out, and my lighting.
I can't remember either.
Wolfspell Records put this out. Caladan Brood is obviously the highlight.
Awesome. Yeah.
Diehard fan of Caladan Brood.
Yep. And if you're just a CD collector and you have the Caladan Brood album, you are missing 2 Summoning cover bonus tracks that are on the vinyl.
That's true. I have it.
Yep, me too.
Elderwind, Eldamar, Evil Feast, Caladan Brood, Dreams of Nature.
Evil Feast, that'd be cool here. Oh man, this is kind of cool. I wish I had that. That's cool.
It's a really nice, like, it was kind of an event in like the kind of folk metal scene after kind of having started, I don't know, mid 2000s. It was kind of like an evidence of resurgence and like a way to kind of showcase a lot of the bands who are kind of carrying the torch of like your Bathory and your Summoning kind of stuff further down the road. We got Messerthim, Druid and Forest, Azaghal, Thy Light, Demonic Slaughter, Kalman Kanteya, who are really good. Galder, Verd. Oh, and then Vedruyansi Viator, which I can't say enough good things about. Mirkwood, Midnight Odyssey, which is awesome. So, yeah, it's a little... 3 discs is a little bit much, but they really put a ton of time and effort into this thing, and it's worth getting. It's called...
It's not on eBay right now, so we'll go to Discogs.
I'm curious. Yeah, is this like a super rarity? I didn't know. In Mordor, Where the Shadows Are, homage to Summoning. I always thought their logo was fucking stupid. What do you guys think?
Oh, with the big...
I like it. I like it.
I kind of like it.
I feel like I like it just because I like Summoning, but on its own, like, eh.
Okay, it is on 2 for sale. Get me to it. 40 euro and 49 euro.
So it's about a 1-to-1 exchange rate right now. So
it is. Yep. Italy and Poland. Huh.
One thing I didn't think that would be a problem out here in this ring light out in my woods is that
bugs.
there are bugs everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a beacon in the night.
You are the best bait pile in Iowa right now.
And that was the night he was rechristened as Bug Smasher.
Discovered by the Mothman and taken away. Okay, you're up, Alan.
Alrighty. So next one's not a tribute band, but it's a band that's done an awful lot of covers that have been pretty high profile. I mean, a lot of times the cover tunes bands do, they're stuck on as, a bonus track on some CD reissue or, the B-side of a Japanese single or something. But this band, kind of had a knack for picking good cover songs, doing a good job with them, and, actually generating some hype about those old bands. And we are talking about none other than Metallica. In particular, what I picked here was, the pressing of Kill 'Em All. That includes Diamond Head cover, Am I Evil, of course, and also a cover of Blitzkrieg's song Blitzkrieg, which Frank and I watched sell for an absolutely shit ton of money earlier tonight on eBay. So that happened. But yeah, Metallica, of course, did others as well. I don't have a hard copy of the Garage Days thing, but they covered Holocaust, the Small Hours, and got more attention on that band. They covered Budgie, and all of a sudden people wanted to hear Bread Fan, and they covered the Misfits and got interest kind of revitalized in that project as well with Green Hell and Mommy Can I Go Out and Kill Tonight. So yeah, Metallica's always, say what you will about them. We're, obviously not fans of what they've done for decades, more or less at this point. But they, always did have a knack for picking some pretty good cover tunes. And
they're a good cover band.
They did, give those bands their due. They did help shine a light on those bands. It wasn't always just buried someplace that you would never hear the cover song. It was, they were always kind of out front about liking that stuff. So yeah, a thumbs up to Metallica when it comes to their choices of cover songs and helping give those small time acts, a second look from fans that missed them the first time around.
I've actually heard a lot of people say that they got into kind of like traditional heavy metal by way of the Garage Days cover of some Merciful Fate song. I'm not sure what it was.
Curse of the Pharaohs, I think.
Curse the Pharaohs. Didn't they do a medley? They did a medley.
Yeah, you're right. They did. They had Curse of the Pharaohs was part of it, but yeah, you're right. It was several songs spliced together.
I remember.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Ben. Actually, I remember one of the guys who his office was right across the hall from mine when that came out. Yeah, I was just gaga about that. Because he brought it over. He knew I liked metal. He's just like, dude, I'm listening to this Metallica thing. Do you know this band called Merciful Fate? She's like, yes, I do. He's just like, what, can you tell me what any of these songs are? So he played the song like, that's part of Curse of the Pharaohs. Okay, that's part of this one. That's part of this one. He's like, dude, this is awesome. Just like, yes, it is. You should go listen to some Merciful Fate. No, I'm just going to keep playing Metallica, man. This is. He was one of those guys who only liked like 5 bands, but knew every song they ever did. But he was at least impressed enough to try to find out a little bit more about Merciful Fate based on that medley.
Metallica was a gateway band for a lot of people, and it's cool. It's they deserve their status as far as they've done the work. They've given up their entire lives to tour, and being on the road for 2 or 3 years between albums is. I mean, I'd be a drunk bastard too by the end of that. I think
Yeah. And yeah, Pat, that is a really good compilation. It's a good gateway into new wave of British heavy metal because it covers a lot of the essential bands and gives you just a couple of obscurities to show you a little bit of the depth of the genre. So yeah, it was a well done compilation.
All right. I've got a couple more here of the tribute stuff. This is a Black Lotus promo I got in 2003. This is a Celtic Frost tribute put out by Black Lotus. Let me make it a little bit bigger here. Not a huge fan of that cover, but whatever. A mixed bag of bands. Got Grief of Emerald doing Visual Aggression, Marduk in the Crypts of Rays, Ner Mataron doing Return to the Eve, Necrophagia doing Triumph of Death, Anchor Cock Mesmerized, Demi Borger doing Nocturnal Fear, Bewitched, Circle of the Tyrants, Order of the Ebon Hand doing Rex, Astarte doing Sorrows of the Moon. Rest in peace to one of the ladies in that band. Melakesh doing Babylon Fell, Ashkaron doing Dawn of Megiddo, Ragnarok, Fainted Eyes, Hypocrite, The Usurper, and Carrier Flux, Beyond the North Wind. I couldn't tell you what this sounds like. I haven't spun it since it came out. It's just been sitting on the shelf. But
honestly, I think that sounds kind of cool. There were some things that piqued my interest in that one.
There's some stuff on here that's definitely I'd be like, huh. But there's been a few of these. I'm like, I should listen to this, and the stack is growing. I've got so many other things I need to listen to right now. It's probably not going to happen. But yeah, there's that. And Ben is back.
You reminded me of I had it there in my brain on a thread. Let's just talk about some noteworthy covers on albums that aren't like tributes. Any come to mind?
Someone mentioned Judas Priest, Green Manalishi, and
Diamonds and Rust. Yep.
Diamonds and Rust, Joan Baez song. Those are fucking classic covers. Classics.
They are. And I mean, a ton of people, when you hear Judas Priest do them, it never occurs to you that it's a cover song if you don't know.
I didn't know it just until later. You know,
yeah, they just sound like classic Judas Priest tunes, and then you find out that they're covering shit like Fleetwood Mac and all, and just like what?
Yep.
I always thought this was just like breaking the law, yada yada yada, until Death Sound of Perseverance had Painkiller on it. Checked out Painkiller, and I absolutely love that album.
Yeah, there's a lot of. I'm a late convert to Priest within the last 20 years, and I kind of missed out on a lot of really killer shit. Priest has had a pretty good run, man. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just so I was going to talk about that. I don't have a copy of that Morbid Angel tribute album.
I don't have it.
49 cover of Domination. So good.
And there's another cover that we just Alan showed Celestial Season Solar Lovers the other day, and they do a great Ultravox cover of the song Vienna. Great. Oh, wow. They did a great Doom version of that song. Fucking awesome. It fits so perfectly on the album. So good.
What do you think about Mexican radio?
I think it's garbage. That is the biggest fuck up. That everybody rants and raves about that album, and even Celtic Frost rants and raves about that album. And man, they fucked it up by putting that song first. It's a dumb cover for them to do. It's a bad idea to put it first. And there's a handful of songs on there I like, but they finally did their true avant-garde piece with Monotheist. I think that is their true art piece.
Yeah. The placement of Mexican radio at the start of the album is just a real hard pill to swallow. If they had buried it, on track 7 or something, it might not be as egregious to the folks that don't enjoy it. But yeah, having it right up front, it's just like, oh boy, I just spent money on this, and now I got to listen to the rest of it too. Fuck.
What's up, Noah? Cheers, brother.
Yeah, and I do not hate Into the Pandemonium. Yeah, I tried for a long time to get into it, and it's just not the album for me.
The thing, it is what it is. And at the time when that album came out, it's not what I wanted. I remember buying it. Like me and my buddy rode our bikes downtown. And it was like the last tape they had. I'm like, I've got the new Celtic Frost. I was like mocking him the whole way, riding his bikes back to his house until we put it on and that fucking cover came on. As soon as the cover came on, he starts laughing. He's like, "You've got the new Celtic Frost." I threw the tape up against the wall. We sat there and hit it with with implements, but the tape version was all smashed up. I mean, I fucked that tape up. I was so mad. And even today, and the fact that, all these years reading Tom, like look back on that album as some brave, amazing piece of art. It always rubbed me the wrong way. This kind of rubs me the same wrong way as like John or Jim Mateos slamming on the early Fates Warning shit because he was tired of it. It just bugs the crap out of me. Anyway, I'm rambling because I'm a little tipsy because the Finnish long drink is starting to seep into my brain a little bit.
Celtic Frost were a band that fell upward the entire way.
Yeah. Well, they struggled, man. After I mean, Vanity Nemesis was largely crap. They tried to get back. It was crap. They had like a rap album there for a minute, like a rap demo that they did.
The Apollyon Sun stuff.
The Apollyon Sun stuff is pretty substandard, but Monotheist, that album fucking rules. That album is a true piece of art. I think that thing, they did finally what he pined for his entire career. They landed on it, and it's great. It's artistic, but it's not repelling. I mean, you don't put it on, it's not so much you can't take it. There's enough Celtic Frost in there it's a great fucking record. I love that record. It's awesome. Awesome. They ended on a high point.
Stuff at all?
What's that?
Do you like that Triptychon stuff at all?
I do. Yeah.
Huh.
I don't ever listen to it, but I like it.
That's what I was about to say too. The Triptychon is a pretty natural follow-up to Monotheist, but I don't find myself going back and replaying the Triptychon albums very much. If I want to hear something like that, I just keep going back and playing Monotheist.
There you go, Ben. Noah says Peter's the best mix on that album. He's trying to rub your ass. He tried to rub your ass the wrong way there.
Every other album, every other track on that thing sounds like garbage, and that's the way it ought to be when you're covering dark.
All right.
Celtic Frost doing Monotheist is kind of like how Warlord did their Holy Empire album. They kind of like 20 years on finally did like the album that they were kind of always meant to do in a way, but never really quite achieved.
Yeah. And Tom was one of those guys that I remember his first book, Are You Morbid? I read that book and was pissed off at how he just lambasted Hellhammer in it the entire time. Juvenile garbage, blah, blah, blah. We became such artists. And then he puts out that massive book, the Hellhammer book that Ian Christie put out, saying how it's the greatest thing ever. It's like he's just swinging whichever way the public opinion is because he wants to continue his career. That shit always bugged me, man. Own up the fact you were a kid and you made Hellhammer. Whether you like it or not, it was revolutionary. And no one else was doing it. Yeah, everybody was slamming your ass in the fucking press, but you know what? It was ahead of its time. It was ahead of its time. Is it juvenile? Sure, it is. But you're fucking teenagers. I mean, you don't know how to play your shit. And you've spent your entire life perfecting your craft, and now you're writing good shit. But you can't look back on that so many people find influence in and praise for and sit there and thumb your nose at it because you're an artist now. I mean, that shit always bugged the fuck out of me. But anyway, again, I'm off into another drunken rant. Sorry.
Totally. Well, yeah, like if Warrior were a more desirable kind of character or personality, I might have an easier time getting into some Celtic Frost or Hellhammer stuff. But I always found the guy to be just a fucking poser asshole. I even met the guy. Didn't go well. If he was like, I like Fenriz is like the most charming dude in metal as far as I'm concerned. If he had like a charming personality where you just it was infectious and you couldn't get enough of him, like maybe I would think twice about listening to Celtic Frost. But yeah. Speaking of poop, is it my turn?
Yeah.
Sure, go for it.
Hey, I just want to say you do a great job of keeping track of whose turn it is. Because every time I'm watching, I forget.
The more I drink, it gets worse. Alan's the one that usually keeps my shit straight. So I should just let it go and let Alan, because I'm highlighting comments and he goes to highlight comments and I click on the same one and we're always tripping over. He's got just as much power as I do. I'm so used to doing it. Anyway, go ahead. Cheers to you, Alan, for keeping us straight. Anyway.
We're talking about some shit. This thing is... it's got some really shitty covers on it.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
There is a video for Blind Guardian's cover of Mr. Sandman on YouTube.
Yes, there is.
Ugh.
Boy. Oh. I think Blind Guardian maybe needs like a manager to tell them when they gotta like back off of a bad idea, but it's too late. It's far too late. They did Surfing USA!
Oh.
Surfing USA!
Yeah. But basically, anytime Hansi Kirsch starts a sentence with, "Hey guys, you know what would be fun?" Yes, they need somebody to run out there and just kind of give him a quick little smack. Nothing hard. We're not trying to injure the dude, but just a quick whack, no, and kind of get him back focused on what he should be doing.
Barbara Ann and Long Tall Sally.
Wow, that thing is stacked with fucking garbage. I'm glad you told me this because I would have found it someday and went, I'm going to get that because I got to have them all. But
their bonus track, I mean, these were all on like the old pressings of, these are old early pressings. Barbara Ann is on this one along with. The thing is too, Ben, they do some kick-ass covers as well. Their version of "Don't Break the Circle" by Demon that's
pretty good.
A burner. Their version of "Trial by Fire" from Satan is on par. It's really, really good. But yes, then they turn around and crap the bed covering Barbara Ann.
Well, they're picking these old rock favorites that who gives a fuck other than really old people.
I mean, it's okay if they like the stuff and it's fun, but it's it's really outside their idiom, and they tend to pick songs that are actually just kind of on the dippy side of pop fun. You could dig up some old songs that would actually probably be pretty cool. Mr. Sandman ain't one of them. It just ain't. I take a heat for this sometimes. I hate the Beach Boys and all that California beach music kind of crud. Jan and Dean. I've never enjoyed that stuff. It's just terribly derivative pop music. I know they're good singers. I know they're accomplished musicians, but they write the stupidest, fluffiest little songs imaginable. And then to hear a German power metal band try to reinterpret Barbara Ann. Fuck, it's rough.
Can you see a fucking German kid going, I was listening to Blind Guardian today, and I've heard this Surfing USA. I'm kind of thinking about buying a Beach Boys record,
Their cover, and it's not just that, they cover they cover Spread Your Wings by Queen, and it's bad. I don't, now Queen, I don't mind Queen. I like some Queen material, but that's not a good cover whatsoever. But yeah, they cover some of those old new wave of British heavy metal tracks really, really well.
Sorry, Frank. Sorry, Frank.
Frank takes offense. Frank and I have been watching Satan and Satan and Demon albums sell for ridiculous amounts of money tonight. So we're a little prickly on this subject, perhaps.
So this is Tales, and there's a ton of like other stuff that I don't think are covers, maybe extra EP stuff. I could see maybe one of these being fun at the end of an album or two, but this is a shit release. Like, you cover Surfing USA, any band, the release is completely ruined. This is going in the garbage.
You should be pile drived in the nuts by your manager. That's the way it is. Pile drive.
To put it in perspective, how much I agree with Ben. Blind Guardian was a band that for a long time I did keep up with their entire discography. I owned every Blind Guardian full-length release up to a certain point. And when it was at one point, then when it came time to clean out the CD collection, I was just like, I looked at that, Follow the Blind compilation. I'm just like, I am never going to play this thing. There are a few cool, like, alternative versions of old tracks. There's an acoustic version of a track here and there. So there are some neat things on it. But in looking, I'm just like, if I get rid of this, I'm kind of breaking up the discography, and this is one of the few bands where I've kind of kept up with every release. But I'm just like, this is just never going to come off the damn shelf. I even had like an old German pressing of it, and I still was just like, there's just no reason for me to keep this. It's just not. There's not enough here to justify it. I'll rip it to MP3 so that if I ever want to hear the neat alternative acoustic versions of some tracks, I've got them. But yeah, the cover song selection really, really sank that one. And I no longer have the entire Blind Guardian discography.
Alan, in the words of Hansi covering Demon, don't break the circle.
Oh, no, that circle. I broke that circle into several pieces. I still have most of their discography. What am I missing at this point? Actually, let's see. There's at least 2 studio albums I don't have. I did not get that recent.
I don't have the all symphonic one that there's no metal on. It's just symphony shit. I didn't buy that one.
I did not buy that one either. And I think there's 2 older studio albums I don't have hard copies of. I've got them digitally, but and again, a lot of the stuff I either had it, I bought the CD, didn't keep it, and just made a digital copy, or I bought a digital copy, when it was on sale on a site. But yeah, that compilation is one of the reasons I no longer have the entire Blind Guardian discography. Ben is right. It's got a lot. It's got a lot of landmines on it.
And for you Blind Guardian fans, Mel reminds us that today Blind Guardian released a new single called Violent Shadows, which what is their 4th or 5th single off the new album. They're going to unleash the whole album before the album comes out. Yep. I got to say, what I've heard, the new album sounds like it fucking rips. So
yeah, and this one, I heard this track this morning, and yeah, again, it sounds pretty good. It's they're definitely trying to recapture some of that older style for this new album. So thumbs up. No Mr. Sandman cover, please. God. Please.
Oh God, what were they thinking, man?
Yeah.
It's fucking garbage. Oh, by the way, I was watering the flowers. I was not taking a shit in the woods. I was watering the flowers.
It's all good. It's all good.
Like a
Marty, I have heard that the new Japanese version of the new Blind Guardian album, it's going to have a Dick and Dale cover as one of the secret bonus tracks.
Excellent. That'd be great. Cool. That'd be fun. Let's get into Alan's next pick, and I'm going to go water something. I'll be right back.
All right. Let's see. Ben asked about other sort of important cover songs that show up on things. In the beginning, there was this album. And this album includes a couple of cover songs on it that people sometimes forget their covers. But you've got and make sure I don't get these mixed up, which I tend to do. Yeah, you've got Evil Woman. That's a cover by an American band called Crow. And at least some pressings, also had Warning with which is in a cover from the Ainsley Dunbar Retaliation. Now, if you name your band Ainsley Dunbar Retaliation, the first thing you have to resign yourself is to the fact that you will never go fucking anywhere. But it's actually, they were a cool band. I've heard the original, and it's actually a really good sort of late 60s. It's got, that kind of garage rock, proto metal sound, the big organ, the big fuzzy tunes to it. But yeah, Black Sabbath right away on that first album, they were kind of rounding it out with a couple of cover songs. And they're good. They did a very good job on both those tunes. They're an important part of the album on the reissues that have both of them. So heavy metal bands have been doing cover songs since day one. They seem to be a big part of heavy metal's DNA. And I guess the same is true in a lot of genres. A lot of punk bands do covers galore. We have an entire TV culture of watching, wannabe pop stars do cover songs on a million different talent shows. I have no idea where I'm going with this. I'm just pointing out that cover songs are definitely a thing. And yeah, even sort of, what most people would consider, the first heavy metal album. Maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong, but yeah, even that one has not one, but two cover tunes on it.
I had no idea those are cover songs.
Well, yeah, they fit in with the album's flow really well. They chose well, and they did good versions of them.
I think it's a thing that is kind of a lost art or like a lost tradition. That I think older bands used to, work a couple of covers into their sets and here and there.
Yeah, it was a very, very normal thing at one point, and then. Yeah, somewhere along the line, it kind of became less and less. They started getting more and more relegated. Yeah, to the B sides of singles and things like that.
I do want to say I just got a message from my buddy Adam. What's up, Adam? Who's watching? He's apparently too scared to post in the chat, but he said, "Promise not to bug you too much, but Blind Guardian's covers for "Don't Talk to Strangers" and "Beyond the Realms of Death" are solid on the Forgotten Tales re-release." They're bonus tracks, so maybe it doesn't count, but they've done great covers, good covers.
Yeah. Blind Guardian absolutely did some great ones. Those are good ones we did not mention. Yeah, it's kind of like when they cover quote unquote serious songs, they do good. Yeah, but yeah, when they get in that silly mood, damn, do they just go off the deep end and get as fluffy, silly, cutesy as they possibly can.
Yeah, no bueno.
But I mean. And the cover of like Barbara Ann, is it bad? No, they do a good job on it. It's just a shitty choice. It's just a choice they shouldn't have done.
There's another good Judas Priest cover. Yep. Forgot about that one.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that was a cover either.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. That is another old cover. Yep. Yeah, Priest did a bunch of them. And then they did
Okay.
Johnny Be Good.
Yeah. All right. Well, I've got a tribute here that's actually pretty piss poor, but I thought I'd show it because it's kind of a dead label, which is sad because there's a lot of classic bands on this. A Black Mark tribute. This thing here is just basically a bunch of Black Mark bands doing cover songs. And we're going to start this whole shindig off with Soulquake System. Who? I don't know, but it doesn't much matter because they start this whole thing off with Firestarter. Ugh, I remember that being really bad.
Was that Prodigy?
Prodigy, Firestarter. Yes.
Fuck off.
Fuck off. Memento Mori doing Sold My Soul. I don't know who that is. Necrophobic doing Ridden with Disease, an Autopsy cover. That can't be bad, right? I don't remember it.
Memento Mori, that's Messiah Markland post Candlemass.
Yep.
Yeah.
World of Silence, who I don't know who that is, doing Strawberry Fields Forever. Another fuck off.
Right.
Quorthon's got 2 hits on here, obviously, because, it's Daddy's label. Quorthon, God Save the Queen, which sucks. And Bathory doing Ace of Spades, which sucks. No one needs to hear that. Tad Morose doing Power of the Night. Divine Sin, Eternal Dark. Hexenhaus doing War. Corporal Punishment doing It's a Sin. When I look back upon my life. No. Nightingale, Return to Fantasy, which is actually quite good. Solano, he nails it. Edge of Sandy doing Invisible Sun, which is a Police cover off that EP that they did. It's great. It's a great cover. Morgana Le Fay ends this with Kisses Parasite. So yeah, this is one I kept because, but it's really not that good. Black Mark tribute.
That sounds awful.
That's a weird mix of bands, and yeah, some of those are definitely kind of B-listers.
Oh yeah. It was what year did this come out? This came out in. They're not going to let me know. They're not going to give me that information because it is a promo. Why would you give me that information on the back of your CD? Anyway, whatever.
It's not there. Rule of thumb: if you want to find out on the back of the CD, it's not there.
Nope, it's not. Maybe it's on the disc. Yep, 1997. This came out in 1997.
Oh, that's a good one. Exodus Low Rider. Fuck that garbage.
Oh, it's bad. That kills that. That kind of puts it's a bad spot in that album.
I gotta disagree. That one for me, it's so bad it's actually funny, so I can at least get a chuckle out of it. It goes through bad into funny, into like bad haha instead of bad fuck off and die. Yep.
Not funny haha, not funny fuck off and die.
Tim's got a decent point here. I've got a couple of exceptions to that, Tim. I'll show one here in a minute when it comes back around to me. But
So
60s material can be a little tough.
You're back, Ben,
Yeah,
but
it is,
we have a couple comments here. Ministry doing the Doors, Roadhouse Blues. I don't know if I've heard that one. I like me some Ministry. Not all of it, but some of it. I prefer.
Definitely not heard that one.
Yeah, I haven't heard that either. Raven put out a cool EP with 11 songs called Party Killers, which is all covers back in 2015.
I think someone else mentioned that earlier too, but I have not heard that.
All right, Ben, you're next. You're back for the attack.
Slinging some turds at the wall. 6 Feet Under's Graveyard Classics.
Why are you even talking about this?
I got a copy of the first one, which may be the best one. I don't know. The best of garbage is still garbage. I don't want to hear 6 Feet Under doing an original, let alone a cover. Also, another turd. Oppressor covered a Motley Crue song on their live album that was notably fucking awful.
Vondor covered Red Hot by Motley Crue.
That's right.
Yeah. Hey, Yacht Rock guy. Thanks, man. We appreciate your support. Cheers to you, brother. Thank you.
Bad album art. You're right. I've got a couple that I think have some decent artwork, but yeah, for the most part,
it was kind of an afterthought. I mean, like this piece of shit. Look at this artwork. This shit is garbage. It's just like, oh, check out this evil thing. Cool. I made it in Photoshop. No.
I mean, as we discussed earlier, I mean, the market got flooded with these, and a lot of them were sort of, meant to be kind of quick cash-ins on the popularity of the whole tribute thing. So maybe it's not surprising that not a lot of effort was put into packaging sometimes.
Yeah.
Warlord did these Slayer comps.
Yeah. Cool. That's pretty cool.
And also, I would have never heard Infernal Majesty were it not for Dawn's cover of.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Living Dead.
Oh, I forgot about that.
From the Sorg Passparte Vingarflow EP.
Are they ever going to put out a new album? Or what's going on with that?
Don't hold your breath. Yeah, I don't fucking know. I've been thinking about having a live stream with Hank of Force on my channel. I'm kind of coming around that idea.
Cool.
Like a couple other like notable covers, and then Death covering Judas Priest, which we obviously talked about. There was one when you talked about that Celtic Frost tribute that like triggered a thought that I didn't follow through with. But anyways, we've talked about Slayer, Black Sabbath. There's a couple more kind of B-list Slayer and Black Sabbath tributes. This one is also a Dwell release with Dark Funeral Monstrosity, which is in Dark Purity. They did Angel of Death. Pretty good. Aurora Borealis, which you don't kind of really hear about much.
Good band.
Yeah. Sadistic Intent doing Necrophiliac. That's fun. From the Depth, which you also don't really hear much about.
No.
Infamy, Diabolic, Coffin Text, Draconis, Evil Incarnate. Fuck them. Thy Darkest Empire, Imprecation doing No Mercy, and then Somnus, which are boring.
Somnus from Michigan?
I think so, yeah.
Huh.
They used to do every show, and they just were never good.
I knew the singer Carrie and his sister. Can't remember her name at the moment. I knew them. They're cool people, but yeah, I was never a big fan.
That's just kind of like, yeah, we're kind of slogging through the poop here. I thought I would like throw two in. This is an earache tribute to Black Sabbath, most notably for having Anal Cunt for covering Killing Yourself to Live.
Yep.
Of course.
Perfect.
Cathedral.
I'm sure it sounded just like the original too.
I believe AC also covered a Smith song, The Smiths.
Oh, okay.
The Smiths. Cathedral covering Wheels of Confusion, Sleep with Snowblind, Godflesh, Zero the Hero, Confessor, Hole in the Sky. I gotta put this on and listen to that one actually.
Godflesh is actually kind of a smart cover. That's kind of a plotting, churning song. That would be a good one translated in Godflesh world.
That's where this really works. Fudge Tunnel Changes.
Fudge Tunnel ruled. I like that band.
Old Who Are You? I don't know that. Brutal Truth with Lord of This World.
Huh.
Ultra Violence, Paranoid.
Ugh.
Pitch Shifter, NJB. I'm not too familiar with Black Sabbath.
NIB.
NIB. Scorn, The Wizard, Iron Monkey. That's a band I haven't listened to in a long fucking time.
First three Pitch Shifter albums rule. The first, the EP, and the last full length, so good. Then they went total garbage. Anyway, dubstep or whatever.
And then Cathedral again with Solitude.
Yacht Rock Guy says AC covered You're Gonna Need Someone on Your Side by Morrissey.
That's right. That's right. Here's the AC guys.
No, Tim, Seth Putnam died. Heroin overdose or something. I don't know. He was all fucked up.
It's probably a good thing that on his legacy in regret.
Frank, I didn't know this either. Maiden's Woman in Uniform was a obscure Aussie band song. I didn't know that. Yep. I thought that was an original. They had a video for that song.
Yeah, a lot of bugs.
A lot of bugs.
Cool. Bugs, Tommy.
All right, Alan, you're back.
All right, I promised Frank a new wave of British heavy metal cover, and I want to combine that with a band covering an old 60s song but actually it's a good song, and the cover worked out well too. We are talking about Girlschool, first album. They had a cover of, wait for it, make sure I get the song title right, Race with the Devil, which was originally done by an old British rock band called Gun, sometimes called The Gun. It was kind of a minor hit for them back around 68, 69. It's a good song. Gun had kind of a weird combination of proto metal and psychedelic trippy stuff going on. You still see the album talked about from time to time. And yeah, Girlschool ended up covering it, and it's pretty true. They kind of, Girlschool stripped away a little bit of the psychedelic edge and, included a little bit more of a, Motorhead punky vibe to it, but it still works really well. And because I know Frank's been slogging away at some new wave of British heavy metal auctions tonight, I could show you just, the regular, bronze version of it, Frank. But then I thought, well, why not show him the Japanese press? Because that still has the cover on it too. But I thought, no, Frank deserves better. So we're going to go with the white label Japanese promo that still has the same exact track list on it. And why does Alan own 3 copies of the first Girlschool album? I'm a sick little monkey, and fuck y'all. You knew that.
Girlschool fucking rules.
It is a very, very fun band. Very... they were very big at the time, and I think they kind of fell into this trap later on where, the later albums, weren't so hot. But they're also one of those things where a lot of new wave of British heavy metal, collectors and stuff, they get so obsessed with, these little obscure bands who only put out like one single or one demo tape or one compilation appearance, that they kind of start glossing over some of those bigger bands. It's like, oh, Girlschool, I heard them for, years ago. There's nothing obscure or cult to dig into for Girlschool. And so sometimes they don't get the, the props they deserve. Those first couple of Girlschool albums are absolute fucking bangers, and a great example of, another band kind of taking that same formula Motorhead was using and putting it to really, really good effect.
We've got some comments here. Mr. Ardvidson, what's your thoughts on that Helloween cover album Metal Jukebox, mainly covering 70 rock songs, since you guys being such Helloween fans, Marty and Ellen? Well, I've got something to say about that. It's one of 2 albums I don't own in my collection by them. And I was listening to it online the other day, and they actually do a really good job on a lot of those covers. And I went to look to buy it, and I couldn't find a price I was willing to pay, to be honest, for covers album. But what I heard of it, it was really well done. Darius crushes it. He can kind of shape his voice into whoever he's covering quite well. He can actually be a chameleon when he wants to be. I was quite surprised at how good the covers were. That other album of theirs, Unarmed, with all the symphonic bullshit remakes of their classic songs.
Right back, 1 second.
Garbage. So Alan's going to leave. So he's not. Oh wait, he's getting something. But yeah, that's an album that will be mine. I don't want to pay $25, $30 for it. I just don't. What were your thoughts on that Metal Jukebox, Alan?
I never paid much attention to it, to be honest. It came out, in those years where I was not paying attention to new Helloween releases as they came out. And again, hearing Helloween cover a bunch of, other stuff, okay, but I'm probably going to want to check out, original Helloween stuff most of the time. Let's see. Somebody just asked Andy about Girlschool covering Bomber. They did it on this little 10-inch release with combined with Motorhead. The project was known as either Head Girl or Motor School, entitled St. Valentine's Day Massacre. And they basically traded songs so that you got Motorhead doing a Girlschool track and Girlschool doing a Motorhead track, and them all just goofing around, having a lot of fun. I thought the photo shoot, you might think it's cheesy, but I thought it was actually kind of cool. Then on the back cover, the ladies have gunned them all down and such. So, fun little, another kind of tribute, bands covering one another on the same release kind of thing.
Oh, and kind of related too, I do want to mention, I don't remember which album it's on. I want to say, was it Somewhere Out in Space by Gamma Ray? They do a cover of
This Flight Tonight by Nazareth.
No, they do Return to Fantasy by Uriah Heep, and it's fucking awesome.
Is that a bonus track?
It might be. I don't know if it's that or Lost or. I'm fucking drunk right now and I'm having a hard time remembering shit. But Gamma Ray, on one of those really good albums, they did a cover of Return to Fantasy by Uriah Heep. Okay. And it is awesome. It is it's one of those I listened to like 6 times in a row type of thing. It's fucking crushing. Great song and a great rendition of it. Awesome.
Yeah. It's either Gamma Ray or Iron Savior did a cover of This Flight Tonight, which is a decent take on that tune. Not my favorite song, but they do okay with it.
All right. With a lot of known facts and instances of covers happening.
Yes.
I like it.
Yes, it's fun. And I don't know who's next.
I just did Girlschool, so Marty, you are up.
Oh, okay. Well, Rick was spoiling the fucking reveal again, but we've got Catatonia, a tribute to Catatonia. What's it called? December Songs. You got a cool Necrolord cover. He's known for the blue covers. Let me make myself bigger by saying Sweet Nothings. There we go.
Oh, you're too big.
Too big. You know what? I don't know where I got this record. I didn't pay a lot for it. I might have got some in for distro back in the day, and I listened to it a couple times. It's cool. Foscor, I've never heard of them. Beatrick, Forest Stream.
Wow.
Averon, bands I never heard of. Lost doing Brave. Forest of Shadows doing Rain Room. Hellvorn doing 12. Side B is Zaster doing Place of Frost. Weird, which is the guy from Azagul doing In Silence Enshrined. Geist doing Love of the Swan. Dark Fortress doing End Time. Forgotten Tomb doing Nowhere. Hell featuring Winterheart. Cold Ways. Farsot doing I Break. Fragile Hollow doing Saw You Drown. And October Falls doing For Funerals to Come. The thing that's cool about it's really a well done tribute, even though there's 90% bands you've never fucking heard of.
I beg the difference.
Well, it's got a poster. Nice gatefold. It's cool. I've listened to it once. Twice, maybe. Oh, wait. Noah says he loves this comp. That true? Okay, see? I'm not in the know. Half the bands on here I've never fucking heard of. I have no idea.
It sounds interesting, and I'm surprised I've never heard of it. Was that put out by Azermadoth?
It was put out by Northern Silence.
Really?
Who was a flat earther. Just saying. Dropping knowledge.
Fucking douche.
Yeah. Hey, all right. Here comes the sexy chat. The sexy fuckheads. The sexy spammers. Thanks, morons.
Here comes the sexy chat.
The sexy chat.
The love bot has appeared.
90% of our comments are these dickheads. Anyway, who's next? It would be
back to Ben.
You thought about getting like a moderator or something that would like hang out and kick people out or block stuff or something?
You're looking at them. You're looking at us two guys.
2 topics I don't want to lose before I forget them. Demi Borgir did a cover of Burn in Hell by Twisted Sister, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah.
And Glorious Dead did a cover of ABBA. Tell us about it, man.
It's going to be coming out on a split with Panopticon. We did a cover of ABBA's SOS. It turned out pretty good. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, and it's not in a funny way. I like ABBA. I'm a child of the 70s. I grew up with ABBA and Kiss. So
it's a lot, and it makes me wonder: is there or has been yet a metal tribute to ABBA?
I don't know. That's a good question.
This brings up a good point. If you want to find if a band has ever covered such and such band, you can go to Metal Archives and search for song titles and type in a band name.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool. It's a find covers. I think it's an interesting. It's something I do every once in a while. And has anybody ever covered Abigor? There's a couple.
That would be a weird. No one wants to because it's so fucked up and complex. Why? Yeah.
You don't want to hear anybody else possibly contextualize their music, right? Well, there's some that rely so much on
God damn it.
trickery or just the artistry of the moment. To where if you were to like, take that moment out and completely recontextualize it, it would just be completely ruined. So there's some bands out there like you just cannot touch or cover.
Oop, sorry, Alan.
That's right. Go, you got it.
Oh, it's on Nuclear Blast. They didn't call us. What the fuck, man? Jürgen, you're supposed to be our, the biggest Glorious Dead fan in Germany. You're supposed to be on that for us. What the fuck?
Marty, he keeps you hanging on. It's the only ABBA joke I can make, and I got it through. So.
Just keeps me hanging on. All right. You're up, Ben. Did you just do one?
Well, I just kind of talked stuff, but I didn't like show one.
I used to have that. I gave it away to somebody. I don't know who I gave it to, but
cool. Another Black Sun Records relic, which is weird. It's a Swedish, mostly tribute to Sepultura. Does that sound kind of interesting? I like that idea. I like that there's kind of more elements to a release than just no. It's a fire on here. Never mind. Fuck what I'm saying. Sacramentum, the Curse / Antichrist.
Sacramentum rules.
They're an underappreciated Swedish band.
Yep.
Far Away from the Sun is so good.
Even Coming of Chaos is awesome.
Yeah.
Lordmaster, Warriors of Death, Dimensions Zero, Troops of Doom, Lord Belial, Crucifixion, Defleshed, doing Beneath the Remains. Defleshed are amazing. Impious, Children of Bottom, Mass Hypnosis, The Crown, doing Arise, Exhumation, which are often forgotten Italian band, doing Arise. Gooseflesh, not Godflesh, not Birdflesh, doing Slave New World. Fun fact, Chaos AD was my high school senior year album of the year. Absolutely the only tape in my car for an entire year. I headbanged the shit out of my neck to Chaos AD.
Yeah, good shit. It's a good album. It's obvious things are starting to change album, but it's transitional, but it's a good album.
It's the album that got me from like hard rock to metal.
Yeah, and it's got a little bit of groove element to it. Real tribal drum work. It's good.
Oh yeah, it was like there was Roots, and there was Chaos AD, and then it was all over from there. A couple more I don't really know. Slave State, Gardenian, Denial, doing Rata Mahata. You don't cover Roots.
Ugh.
Come on.
Yuck.
Now I was really, really into Roots, and then I wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All you people in the chat, you're blowing us up, and I love it. It's so cool. Thank you so much.
What about I was excited when I came upon it, and it hadn't been done, and here we are.
Yeah,
love you guys. Cheers.
Cheers. What about the cover songs Wasp does? They do Uriah Heep's Easy Living and Humble Pies, I Don't Need No Doctor on the Inside the Electric Circus album, and The Who's The Real Me on Headless Children, among some.
And Jefferson Airplane's Somebody to Love on Darker Than Black.
Whoa.
They did great. Yeah.
And if you even mentioned the name We Built the City, I would have come on down there and kneecapped you. That fucking song is the worst earworm in my head for 10 months. Song ever. Ugh. Wait a minute here. I listened to Beneath the Remains the other day for the first time in a long time. Such a good album. We would love to hear those bands covering Sepultura.
Yeah, it's a great release.
Absolutely. Honorable mention, Converge covering Disintegration by The Cure on a Cure tribute comp of early aughts metalcore bands.
Ooh, I know I'm not up, but I'm pissing. But Carpathian Covering Forest by The Cure is amazing.
It's way better than the Behemoth's recent cover and video, which is hot garbage.
Oh God.
Yeah, that is a good Carpathian Forest did a really cool version of that.
They actually kind of figured out the true atmosphere of that song, and that they did a great job on that cover.
Yeah, they really did.
All right, so it's Alan's turn.
It is. Let's see. Oh, let's do a fun one. Let's do something fun. If we want a couple of crappy ones just to throw out quickly, Megadeth's done some real stinkers. Lest we forget, these boots are made for walking, and I ain't superstitious in their early days.
They also did Anarchy in the USA or UK, or it's terrible.
Yeah, they could not come up with a good cover song on any of those early Megadeth albums. But here's a goofy and fun one by a band nobody knows or cares much about. But I've shown this before. It's a Tennessee thrash band called Intruder. Did a few albums back in the day. I always had a soft spot for them. This is their second one, Metal Blade release, called Higher Form of Killing. Now this is going to sound bad, but you got to let me get through it. They decided to close out side A with a
Eleanor
cover.
Rigby.
No, nothing that artsy. No, if you wanted an artsy fartsy British cover, you'd have gone with Eleanor Rigby by the Beatles. But when you're Intruder, who's always, you're permanently mired on the B tier, maybe the C tier, you don't get to cover the Beatles. You get to cover, wait for it, the Monkees.
Ugh.
I'm Not Your Stepping Stone.
The TV Beatles.
Davy Jones and the Monkees.
No.
With I'm Not Your Stepping Stone. This is another one though that they find a goofy way to do it, and it's so goofy it's funny. Because it's them just kind of screaming, hollering, clanging around, doing, I'm not your stepping stone. But then they kind of have a break in the middle of the song where they include. Now historians have debated whether these lyrics were part of the original Monkees version or not. But there's this little breakdown where he goes. See, now you say that you are free. You have no use at all for me. Well, I've got some news for you. You won't be shit when I get through. And they just go into a total thrash mosh breakdown. And I fucking love hearing that in the middle of a Monkees song.
Minor Threat also covered that song and did a really good job on it.
Yeah, it's just, it should not work. It should be just cringe-inducingly bad. But bless their hearts, Intruder found a way to make it kind of fun. So 4 for you, Intruder. You go, Intruder. You made a Monkees song work on a thrash metal album in 1988 that like 5 people fucking bought. I can dig it.
Glenn likes the Monkees. Fuck us all. And then the Eleanor Rigby was a jab, but Realm actually covered that on Endless War, and it's garbage.
Somebody else has covered Eleanor Rigby, and I'm drawing a blank, but it's equally bad to the Realm cover. Yep. I could be thinking of a different Beatles song. I don't care. If you're covering the Beatles and you're a heavy metal band, you need to rethink your life choices.
Voivod were the kings of Voivod or Pink Floyd covers. They did Astronomy Domine, and they also did the Nile song on The Outer Limits.
So many people have done Astronomy Domine, though. Here. I'll do one more. Here's a different oddball one, but it's a pretty one. Somebody mentioned, Marty, you mentioned, the Vienna cover earlier, which is a really cool, pretty take.
Yeah.
Italian band called November, who nobody's ever paid attention to.
Isn't it Novembra? I don't know. I could be wrong.
It's spelled with BRE at the end, so I'm sure it's some kind of Italian spelling or pronunciation. Regardless, it's kind of Italy's version of Opeth is the shorthand way to describe this band. The only difference is I actually like this band quite a bit, and Opeth I never could get into very much. But on this album, they've got a long discography. I don't even remember which album this is, album number 4 or something. They have an unusual cover in the middle of it. They do Cloudbursting, which is off of Kate Bush's Hounds of Love album. And it's actually, they do a really nice job of it. They, again, recapture, how pretty and, beautiful that song is with, just, the little violin, staccato notes and such. And November does a really nice interpretation of that. So as sort of it's an oddball one. Why in the world is this weird Italian metal band covering Kate Bush in the late 90s or early 2000s? I have no idea how that came to pass, but they did a really nice job on it. It's I like the original quite a bit, and I like November's take on it too. If you think Opeth were just the best, give this band at least a chance. The vocalist, no. Now he's no Mike Ackerfeld. Nobody is. But
even Mike Ackerfeld isn't anymore.
Zing. There we go. But so, there's an Italian inflection to his voice. You can stumble. The lyrics can be a little jammed in sometimes because of the difference in languages. But musically, I always found these guys a lot more interesting and got a lot more repeat listens than any Opeth album did for me. And you get a cool Kate Bush cover mixed in as well.
Which song?
Cloud Bursting.
Cloud Bursting, right on.
Their debut is awesome, and Alcest owes them a lot of honor for stealing their sound.
Yep. All right. Well, I'm next, and I'm going to end with my tribute side of this whole thing with probably the best, highest selling tribute album EP ever made. Let's be honest. It's this.
Yep.
And I'm not going to lie. This thing fucking rules. This proved that Metallica are a great cover band. They've done Whiskey in the Jar by Thin Lizzy. It rules. It's great. It's a great cover. They've done, Garage Days revisited with a bunch of other songs, which, it's great. But this here has just got the piss and vinegar that, Metallica are coming off of a pretty serious tragedy with Cliff dying. They get this new kid in the band from Flotsam and Jetsam, who also did on their second album, No Place for Disgrace, Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting by Elton John. Pretty good cover, but he wasn't involved on that. But here you've got them doing a Holocaust song, a Killing Joke song, Budgie song, and a Misfit song. And they fucking crush it on all of them. It's great. You could tell, Ryan, you're right. It sounds great. It sounds like they just went in and recorded it live. It says it was recorded by the band. Why aren't they doing this today? They got these producers and yes men in their fucking circle that just, they need a producer that goes in and other than Bob Rock, they need Fleming Rasmussen to come back or whatever and tell them to quit fucking around. I mean, that new album they put out, there's like 5 good songs on it. The rest of it's garbage. They need someone to say, okay, this is good. This is garbage. Save it for EPs. But this album, this tribute is great. It sounds like Metallica, and they kept a lot of these bands alive. What was it? They did Blue Oyster Cult's Atmosphere. And who wrote that song? Bouchard? I can't remember who wrote that song, but he's like, the residual checks he gets from Metallica for doing that song to this day are keeping him alive. That's fucking awesome. This is where a band that is rising to power pays homage to their fucking influences. They do a great job on them. They present them in a raw, fun way. It's not overproduced. It's full of piss and vinegar. It sounds like Metallica. This takes fucking devil shits all over Injustice for All, as far as I'm concerned. This thing is great. I love it. I wish this was a full-length album. I could care less about the revisited thing where they're all wearing trucker hats and they have their hair cut off, whatever. There's some good shit on that too, but this is awesome. This is great. They've done Am I Evil? They've done Diamond Head shit. Like Alan showed some great stuff from them too. Metallica are a great cover band. And you can't take that away from them because they were a great band. They still are a good band, whether you like them or not. It don't matter. They're still doing it. They're making shit tons of money, and they still put on a good show. And people.
When did that come out though? I'm kind of confused about like the Garage Days cover albums.
This came out before Injustice. This came out. Well, this is a blackened reissue. Mind you, Metallica finally got the rights to all their music back, and they bought a pressing plant in Germany, I think. So Blackened Record, they're pressing their own records. I don't know exactly when this came out. I've got the tape of it.
Okay.
I can look it up real quick. Because I am curious now that you mentioned that. It's before Injustice. Oh, I'm so stupidly. Oh, there we go.
It's around that time.
Metal Hey, Metallica is still on the Metal Oracle. That's nice.
Yep.
The EP, the 598 EP Garage Days came out in 87.
Really? Okay.
So, yeah, pre-Justice.
Yep, a year before Injustice for All.
For some reason, I thought that the one with the Merciful Fate cover was like the first one or something that came out post load or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Post load.
the Garage Days and Corp. Yeah, I thought so too.
Post load. That sounds dirty.
My rapper name, Post Load.
DJ Post Load.
Nirvana covers.
Christopher, I'm not gonna lie. I'm still a defender of Metallica. I like Death Magnetic, and not in a shitty way. I'm not being mean. I actually like that record. I think there's a lot of great riffs on it. There's some good songs on it. I think their latest album, there's probably 4 or 5 really good songs on it. The rest is garbage. And I'm always going to check out their new shit. I mean, that Metallica was my gateway into the heavier shit. It just was. You know, Ride the Lightning was the first one I bought. Master of Puppets was a close second. I got Kill 'Em All third, to be honest. And they're huge for me. Huge. They set me on that path of checking out Metal Church, and then, you know, the whole thrash world opened up. Testament, Megadeth, Anthrax, and then from there it just blossomed into what I'm at today. So fuck yeah, Metallica. Yeah, they've had some missteps, but you know what? You think they're stepping in shit, but they keep selling out arenas and they keep making tons of money. So someone's listening to it.
So does Taylor Swift and country bands. I'm I think you need some more data to back you up there.
Yeah, right. It's true. It's true. But yeah, you're right.
But to be fair,
Death Magnetic is not a bad album. Go ahead.
I didn't get into Death Magnetic, but to be fair, I did think about exactly half of Hardwired was decent. It was the first Metallica album I had bought in like 30 years. I liked it enough to buy it. So
it did not need
full disclosure. I did buy that.
It did not need to be 2 discs. They could have trimmed the fat.
I.e. the second disc.
All right. Yeah, Christopher showed me his pickups, and he's got some sexy stuff going on in his recent record store dive. Anyway, who's next? Ben is next.
We're back to Ben.
I feel like this is a topic that we didn't realize was as much of a prevalent thing as maybe we are churning up the facts. So I've got 4 more. They're kind of underling, kind of whatevs. This is a tribute to Skepticism.
What?
Yeah, that's cool.
Interesting.
Actually quite noteworthy. It is a 2 set because Skepticism songs are 18.5-minute long songs. And it's really, really great. Nest is on here. I think Nest are mind-blowingly great. Shroud of Bereavement, Shape of Despair, right? Makes sense. And there's so like I think a good comp album has like a ton of like what you would expect, and then a lot of bands that you might not know about. So this is really a great example of that. You've got Why Angels Fall doing Shred of Light, Pinch of Endless. I'm not familiar enough with Skepticism's discography or song titles really what these are from or what these are. Corpus Omni Domini, October. And then just 2, you've got Aarni. Nobody really talks about Aarni. Monolith doing Edges, Calm Sight, and then Rigor Sardonicus. That's a really great cover. Dark Flight, which is an awesome Russian kind of melodic doom band. You ever listen to them, Marty?
Who? You blanked out. What'd you say? Dark
Flight.
Seems like I had some in the distro, but I never listened to it.
I don't know that one.
Awesome. They're a lot like that Morningside. They sound a lot like Morningside.
Ah, okay. Morningside are great.
And then It Will Come. Foreshadow Records put this out.
Huh. Interesting.
Worth picking up. It's one of those things you can probably get for $10. And the artwork on this thing, honestly, is pretty interesting.
Is there a Bethlehem tribute? Carl asks. I had no idea if there is.
I do not know.
Actually, I put that down. I have that. I grabbed all this stack today, and I was like, nobody's gonna care about a Bethlehem tribute.
I do. Suicide's one of my favorites, man. It's so depressing.
It's so as a tribute, it's fucking weird. There's a lot of bands on there that I don't know, kind of don't really have any business covering a black metal song, I guess. So it's super spotty, but there's some really great things on it. And the way I found out about this Bethlehem tribute is actually there was one of my favorite YouTube ways to like discover new albums is the what is it? Amoeba Records does this What's in Your Bag series.
I love that. It's fun.
And so Cattle Decapitation did a What's in Your Bag.
Yeah.
And found the Bethlehem tribute album in Amoeba Records, and I was like, I gotta get that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And so that's probably the only one of these that I didn't actually grab.
I
Emperor
didn't know there was an Emperor tribute.
I think that want to say that was like an online only or digital only release that also had like Arcturus covers on it. A friend of mine's band was on that, I think.
Huh. I remember hearing about it, but I've never heard it.
Skepticism. This is one of those things that doesn't pop up on Discogs very often, but it's not pricey when it does, if at all. But yeah, Skepticism fucking rules. Storm Crow Fleet.
Yep. Lead and Ether's a really cool album.
Yeah.
I know most people go for Storm Crow Fleet,
shit.
which is also good, yeah. But Lead and Ether's also pretty neat.
Skepticism are a band which incredibly are still putting out really, really critically acclaimed albums. Rolling Stone, I think, named their last year's album in the top 20 or 10 or something like that. Metal albums of the year.
They're one of those bands. I mean, that the inclusion of the funeral organ is fucking genius. It's genius, and it's unique. No one else does it. It's awesome.
Yeah,
Timpani's kind of cool. Yep.
This comp is great for taking like kind of recontextualizing some of those ideas. Like there's not Hammond organ on a lot of these things. And Nest is totally different. They're not a metal band at all. But they do a really like calming kind of almost ambient kind of version of a Skepticism song. I wouldn't say I recognize it as a Skepticism song, but the Nest cover on here is alone why I bought this comp.
Did not know that even fucking existed. Nice pull.
Yeah.
Anyone mention Anthrax doing Anthem by Rush? Nope. You did.
I was going to mention I'm 18 eventually if we got to it, but it was kind of towards the bottom of the stack since it's a pretty well-known one.
Anvil doing Paint It Black on their first album. Anvil.
Yeah, I'd completely forgotten about that on the first Anvil album.
Here next weekend or right this very moment, there's a venue right down the road. I still haven't been there. Metal gigs happening all the time.
Should probably get with the program there. Support the scene, man.
I'm always looking Friday nights, and they have like Sanguis Sugar Bog playing and Origin and shit like that. Nile, Terrorizer, missed them all.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, Alan, you're back, and I need to go make water. I'll be right back.
Okay, I'm going to roll two kind of weird things together here, but there's a common theme to these. Accepts second album, I'm a Rebel. The title track is actually a cover song, kind of, which I didn't know until very recently. But yeah, the track "I'm a Rebel" was actually written by I believe the writing credit goes to George Alexander, but it's George Young, older brother of Angus and Malcolm from AC/DC. And the song was originally written for AC/DC. And this is a little weird. I've been digging on it lately. Apparently, AC/DC did record the song "I'm a Rebel" while on tour back in around 76 or 77. I've seen that one place said they recorded it while they were in Scotland. Another place said they recorded it in Germany. So I'm not sure about the details there. But apparently it was also one of the only times that their older brother sang with them on an AC/DC recording. They were kind of apparently, just goofing around in the studio a bit. It does not have Bon Scott doing the vocals. One version says that, yeah, he's there in the background doing hand claps or something, but just kind of drunk and hanging out. And to my knowledge, it's one of those AC/DC tracks that has never made it out of the vaults, despite all the different collections of old recordings and the Bonfire box set and all this stuff. The I'm a Rebel recording has never been officially released on anything. There's a bootleg or two out there that have it. I've heard it once on one bootleg, and yeah, it's a real lo-fi sound quality kind of thing, but it's, it's somebody doing I'm a Rebel, in a very sort of, off the cuff environment. So ACD, Accept kind of, takes their title track from the AC/DC thing. And then to tie that into something else, you also have this Ohio band called Breaker, and they're named after the third Accept album. And Breaker decided they would release an EP called Accept, just so they could intertwine the names as much as fucking possible. Oh. And in case you still didn't get it, the band Breaker covers the Accept song Breaker on the Accept EP that also rips off the cover art from Accept, except
but
this time
they didn't burn it.
They didn't set the guitars on fire because, Breaker probably doesn't exactly have the same instrument budget that Udo and company did. They can't afford to be like burning guitars.
Gibson guitars are not cheap because you have to play authentic, just so you all know.
Yeah, so I've just always gotten a bit of a chuckle out of how this band made it. Just in case you don't know where we got our name from, we are going to beat you over the head with it until you get that we fucking love Accept. And then Accept themselves said basically, they're the title track of one of their albums pays homage to and how the heck they knew about this AC/DC recording when they made this Accept album back in '79. That's another weird little tidbit. It had never been released. Maybe they played it live a couple of times. I don't know. But yeah, bands tributing bands who already tributed again somehow. There's a weird knot to untangle there, but fun stuff nonetheless.
I think Alan cracked some sort of code and all that. I don't know for sure, but
we're through the looking glass on this one, folks.
Somehow figured out the meaning of life and all that somewhere.
The answer is 42.
I was successful, Christopher. It was perfect. All right, I'm next. Well, I'm on to bands that are a tribute to a sound or style. And let's just get right to the obvious. Bloodbath Breeding Death EP. I mean, this is a through and through, no bones about it. Not hiding the fact that this is a Stockholm Swedish death metal tribute, nod to the HM2 sound, Dismember, Entombed, all that good stuff. Members of Opeth, Edge of Sanity, Catatonia, and later Hypocrisy.
Masquerade.
What?
Diabolical Masquerade.
Diabolical Masquerade. Yep, all that stuff. Million projects between all these guys for sure. But actually, Ackerfeld and Swano had a heavy metal project called Steel for a demo's worth of material. Never heard it. Apparently, I don't know if it's readily available or not, but I mean, this is classic Swedish death metal. And this is a sound and style the band has been perpetuating their entire career. A Resurrection Through Carnage, the album after this. The drum production is really weird, but the guitar production is absolutely chainsawing through flesh, through the whole thing. So good. Great band. Fun project. Definitely a tribute to a sound that is classic. Ben.
Let's try and think of bands that deserve a tribute that maybe they don't exist. Voivod.
Someone was mentioned that in the chat earlier. Is there a Voivod tribute? I have not seen one.
Bolt Thrower.
Well, I think every crust band that's coming out is kind of a tribute to Agnesy. If you listen to the band Agnesy, there's a lot of Bolt Thrower in that. But yeah.
Asphyx. I would love to hear an Asphyx cover tribute.
Well, there's a band called they're on tour right now. They got 4 or 5 albums. God. There's been a lot of what?
Mulder is kind of it.
Oh, the Shadow. Oh, fuck. I don't know. God damn it. They're on tour right now. They sound a lot like Asphyx. There's been a lot of bands that are kind of aping that Van Drunen, dehydrated drawl in their vocals.
It's great. He's he's probably, I think, my favorite death metal vocalist.
There's Jurgen says there's an Asphyx cover album. Did not know that.
I'm guessing there's bound to be an Accept cover album, but that's a band that should have had one if they somehow got overlooked.
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah. And they are a band that does get overlooked some just because they were so early 80s that even by the late 80s, people were sort of, bypassing them. So maybe they didn't. Armor Us. See, Frank says Armored Saints. Oh, they covered. Oh, yes. Someone else mentioned this earlier too, Frank. And yeah, I either forgot that or just mentally blocked it. So thanks for dredging that back up, guys. You're triggering me. Who else is a good one that doesn't have one?
Covering terrible songs that are fun. Yeah, they're fun, but that doesn't mean I want to hear you do it.
Rick says, how about a 6 Feet Under's cover album? Cue tomato throwing.
We can't ban you from the chat, Rick. You do know this. Just a
You
reminder.
can be banned. You can be put in timeout. We have the power.
We crush you like grape.
All right, Ben, what you got?
This is a tribute to Ulver.
Huh.
Oh.
It is a 2-disc set called My Own Wolf, a new approach to Ulver.
Is there some Depeche Mode on there?
You might. I don't think I've heard of any of these bands on here, but I think the idea was that it was like kind of emerging artists to kind of take on the like post Nettins Madrigal style and kind of run with it, which I don't really want to hear, to be honest.
No.
There are actually a couple of reinterpretations of the Kveldsonger tracks. There are a couple of Nettins Madrigal tracks and a couple of Bergtot tracks, actually. So like, there's a couple of like worthwhile things to listen to on here, but yeah, I don't think I any of this stuff. Really good, really good.
How did they do on that song, Jurgen? I'd be interested to hear that. It can't sound like Voivod. They do it in the grave style.
Oh wow. What's funny is this was put out by Cold Dimensions, which is like I think the house label of Lunar Aurora. Am I drunk? How drunk am I? But this is really like early 2000s, kind of cringy, like working in a lot of computer drum machine kind of stuff into areas that I don't ordinarily fuck with. But yeah, a couple of Bergtot covers, and there's really one band I wouldn't be able to pull it out, but somebody does like a medley of a couple of songs from Kveldsonger, and it is fucking awesome. I was jamming with Austin a couple of years ago, and we wanted to do like a Norwegian folk metal kind of thing, and what I wanted to do was like do a metalized version of a song from Kveldsonger. I always thought that would be a really great idea. Somebody do.
Huh.
Okay, Alan, you're next.
All right. Let's see. I'll rattle off a few more horrible cover songs. It turned out I actually had a list of some awful cover songs I found buried in some old notes, and then I'll mention some good ones. These are very small, kind of no-name bands, but they did put out a metal album back in the day, and on some of these, they decided to include covers that they really shouldn't have included. First off, there was a band called Probe. Now, your first problem is you named your band Probe, but getting past that, Probe decided they would include a cover of the Charlie Daniels band, Devil Went Down to Georgia, on their attempt at 80s heavy metal.
Oh,
No. Bad Probe. Number 2, there was a band called Rock Brigade, spelled in a very mangled way. Bonus points for that. You're an 80s metal band. You get to misspell it as much as you want. They decided they would do a cover of the Supremes, You Keep Me Hanging On.
Oh,
That does Diana Ross and heavy metal, that does not work. That is no.
they got
just
you
lost
before
all-
Blind Guardian could.
You just lost all the cool points for misspelling your name. But Rock Brigade weren't the only ones who decided to cover the fucking Supremes. There was also a band called Vice. There are actually several bands called Vice. But one of them decided they needed to cover Stop in the Name of Love on their attempt at a heavy metal release. How are you going to be OG headbangers playing sold out arenas, raking in the groupies, making the big MT movie when you're covering Stop in the Name of Love? You've completely torpedoed your career before you even got it out of the pressing plant. It's rough. Number 4 here we have Winterhawk. This was a band that 80s metalheads seem to kind of like, but they had a little bit more of a 70s rock vibe. Very much a 70s rock vibe going on. A decent guitarist, but they decided covering Good Golly Miss Molly in kind of a weird country twangy-ish way would be a thing to do to get attention in the 1980s.
Winterhawk, I want to start a project band called Summer Condor.
Autumn Turkey.
Yes. Spring Chicken. Well, wait.
No, Spring Albatross.
Oh, yeah.
And finally on this list, we have the band Explorer, spelled with extra X's. Bonus points for that. Explorer did a cool album back in the day, kind of an ambitious one. And
Isn't
they did
someone from Anal
album.
Cunt involved in that?
Sorry, what?
Isn't someone from Anal Cunt involved in Explorer?
You might be. No, you're thinking Executioner.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
but, Explorer did this.
Cheers.
Explorer did a cool Symphonies of Steel album. But at some point in their career, they also decided they needed to cover One Is the Loneliest Number.
Oh,
So to our point earlier about metal bands having a tough time pulling off the covers of 60s bubblegum songs. Yes, and Metal Theologian's right. There are 2 Winterhawks out there. There's the better known one, and that's the one that did the Good Golly Miss Molly. And then there was a smaller one that had at least a single at some point. Anywho, let's wash that out of our mouth with something a little better. Covered by Victor Griffin. Heralded pentagram guitarist, went on to Place of Skulls after he found Jesus and all that kind of stuff. This is just a
Thank
album
goodness for that.
I power to him. 4 for you, Victor Griffin. You go, Victor Griffin. I love his guitar playing. He always had a really cool guitar tone, the way he downtuned it and stuff. Anyway, this is just a kind of a collection of recordings he did. I think a lot of these were recorded kind of in his downtime between leaving Pentagram and getting Place of Skulls off the ground. I might be wrong, and they may be kind of scattered over time. Anyway, one he covers on here is a song called Ain't It Fun, which is an old Rocket from the Tombs track. It was kind of the Cleveland area proto-punk band that has a big cult underground following. Really cool track if you've never heard it. Rocket from the Tombs, I don't know if I remember right, they never even did a full album or anything. Basically, you just got to look up like live stuff and bootlegs on YouTube is about the only way to check out the band. But Ain't It Fun? Yeah, definitely it fits in with that Cleveland sort of snotty punk scene. And again, I'm stretching the memory cells here a bit. I think after Rocket from the Tombs broke up, some of the members went on to form Dead Boys, and that song very much would fit in. Dead Boys probably covered that song themselves, come to think of it.
Well, you want to talk Dead Boys, you got Overkill doing Sonic Reducer by Dead Boys.
Next on the stack.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Leading right into Overkill.
Top 10 album for me. I love that record so much.
It is an amazing album. And yes, the CD has a bonus track, Sonic Reducer, which is a Stone Cold Killer, and it is by Cleveland's very own Dead Boys, Cheetah Chrome. That's a hell of a good stage name, I'll say that. And the guys, Sonic Reducer, arguably my favorite Dead Boys track. I like some of their stuff. I'm not over the, what do you say? Head over heels. I'm not head over heels on Dead Boys, but they did some good tunes. But so yeah, Victor Griffin covering Ain't It Fun from the old Rocket from the Tune set, and Overkill covering Sonic Reducer. You've got your Cleveland punk scene represented here on Heavy Metallurgy tonight. And with that, I will kick it over to Marty. And I will catch up on the chat comments.
Yeah, there's a lot, man. Everybody, you guys all rule. Thank you so much for hanging out with us and chatting tonight.
Folks are very chatty tonight, which is cool.
Okay, I've got a couple dissection cover bands. One of them is a tribute band that started off as very much a tribute band, and they're from Germany. They're called Volcandra. A couple brothers. Oops, let me get this switched around here. These guys are awesome, man. They're just good. I mean, you got the Necrolord covers. They're all blue. They had no bones about the fact that they were dissection cover tribute band, and the songs are great. The feel is great. All these albums are great. I have not spent much time with the latest one. I bought it, listened to it twice, haven't revisited it. I've had so much new shit to spin, but it's great, man. All these albums are awesome, and very much in the spirit of Storm of the Lightsbane. Well done. I mean, you even got your artist. You got the same color scheme. Great band. They're just great. A good band. I wouldn't have bought all these if they sucked. Although I am a sick little monkey too, and I'm one of those guys that likes to see a full discography sitting on a shelf, even though sometimes that's not always a smart course of action. But Ben, you are back, sir. You fine human being.
First half of the alphabet or the second half of the alphabet?
Whichever tickles your fancy.
Second. I'll answer. Whatever tickles your fancy. Give them an answer, for God's sake, man. Second half.
Oh, I've got that tribute. Yeah.
Yeah, as Zermadoth put this out, they also put out a tribute to Dissection.
There's a Killer Nachachwin cover on there, and an Obsequiae cover on there, isn't there?
Obsequiae cover on this thing. Pretty cool. It came with a poster.
Oh, Nachachwin did a cover on their own thing. Yeah.
Such fine print here, and I am out in the dark. I see House of Atreus, Nachachwin, Winter Eternal.
Yeah, well, Nachachwin did something off of Tragedy of the Lost Lovers. Great cover.
One with the Forest.
Yep, great song.
Yeah, and Obsequiae, which I'm a big fanboy of. War, Maledicary. Big fan. Yeah, that's it's a 2 CD set. I feel like this probably could have been a 1 CD version, but a lot of times when you're pressing like 1,000 copies of something, it's like $200 more to do a double disc. Why not?
Yeah. Plus, they probably had so many bands sign up for it. They're like, "Fuck it, we don't want to cut anybody. Everybody did the covers. You might as well do a 2 CD."
But the cover art is fucking crap. Come on, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's no Dwell Destruction album cover, but
Dumb. By the way, yeah, Destruction needs a cover album. There's a notable cover. Hemdale covering Curse the Gods is one of my favorite covers of all time.
It's right here, bro. Look no further, bro.
Oh, that's right. Is Hemdale on there though?
No.
That's the best.
But Infamy and Diabolic and Draconis, whoever the fuck that is.
I've been freaking out about Ritual all week. Ritual's guitar player Jim Party went on to be in Draconis.
Shows you what I know. Yep. All right, Alan.
Go ahead. I didn't cry. Fan. Big fan.
Yeah. I'm late convert to that band, but I like what they did.
To Riding Christ?
Riding Christ, yeah.
Yeah, I've honestly, the relationship with that band is kind of weird. I think I like bands that love them more than I love Rotting Christ themselves. And I never really experienced their music until maybe the mid to late 2000s. So I'll never love them as much as I wish I could.
Have you heard the last truly great Rotting Christ album is Theogonia? Have you heard that record?
No, after Triarchy of Lost Lovers, I never quit.
The Theogonia is a ripper. It's like really good, fast. There's a lot of fast stuff on it. It's their last really awesome album. Really good.
I think Rotting Christ, for me, their charm lies in how kind of amateur and kind of podunkish some of their stuff is. The kind of like shitty programmed drums. I mean, obviously like godly riffs, but there's a lot of charm there. And like you brought up Lordy and Guard earlier, they have a lot of charm for me in how crappy they are. Testament to how shitty my taste is, but I kind of like that in sometimes.
Yeah, there's a stripped down honesty to it, but when you hear the Warlord stuff, you know what he's capable of, and it's just kind of a shame,
Yeah, and so like in a case like Warlord, where their songs kind of sound like shit, but their songs are amazing, they brings out the underdog rooter for me, and I want to root for the underdog and be like, these songs are amazing, even though they sound like shit.
Yeah,
come and have these bands just like make these songs all sound amazing is like the ultimate. I fucking told you so.
Yeah, right. All right, Sir Alan.
Alrighty. Yeah, this one's pretty straightforward. Always liked the cover song that Sinner included on their Nature of Evil album. Yeah, this is another one of those
album.
It's their 10th, 11th, or 12th, somewhere around there. Yeah, this another one of those just kind of legacy German bands at this point. They have a ridiculously long catalog. I have tried for a while to fill in most of the catalog, and I still have a ways to go. It's kind of hard tracking down their early stuff, in particular, especially for a decent price.
That's a good price for that one.
Yep. This is the time to buy them. And this is a pretty good album. They got on Nuclear Blast. This album got a bit of a push when it came out. There was a little more, for the first time in a long time, there was actually a little bit of buzz about the band, and rightfully so. It's a good album. But
it's a good band.
The reason, and yeah, it is a good band. I've always liked Matt Singer's voice. I like his style of playing. It works. They're a little more of a straightforward band. They always lean to maybe a little more commercial friendly than say the Rages and Halloweens and Creators and stuff did, but they were still plenty heavy. Anyway, track number 11, they wrapped the album up with a really good rendition of The Sun Goes Down from Thin Lizzy's Thunder and Lightning album.
Great fucking, I love that Thunder and Lightning record. That's the album that got me into Thin Lizzy. It's a great record. Their heavy metal record. I love that.
Yeah, it's definitely their heaviest album by Thin Lizzy and one of their best. But yeah, The Sun Goes Down. It's a good track. Thin Lizzy, the version is awesome. It's this kind of slow, moody, very quiet song, and Sinner really recapture that vibe perfectly. And it's a great way to kind of wrap this album up. It's a good closer. Again, a lot of times you almost feel like the cover song is just an add-on. It's just stuck there. In this case, it's actually the perfect ending to the album. It just lets it kind of wind down like this quiet, sort of dark, melancholic vibe to it. So it's just a good example of picking the perfect cover to wrap things up with. Since that album, I've noticed that on a lot of the Sinner albums, especially in the 2000s, they've drifted more and more towards a real Thin Lizzy sound. There's a strong Thin Lizzy vibe on some of the more recent Sinner albums like Crash and Burn and One Bullet Left. Those albums, there's usually at least one or two tracks that you can tell he's just channeling his inner Phil Lynott fanboy and when they write those tunes, which is cool. They do them well. I've got no problem with it. But a good cover that actually fits into the album quite nicely rather than just being tacked on.
All right,
turn, Marty.
This is my last one. This is the last one I got in the pile. And I figured let's end on a recent release. And it's a release that has caused a lot of It is probably in a lot of ways canceled this guy's band because he did such a shitty job at fucking taking care of business. But it's by a band called, or a guy, one-man project called Sanera, the Everlorn. I listened to this thing today.
Yeah.
And basically, like, if you listen to the songs on Dissection's second album, I'm drunk, I can't remember it right now. The songs Unhallowed and Soul Reaper, basically the whole album sounds like Soul Reaper and Unhallowed. It's well written. Dissection Worship, Retribution, Storm of the Light, Bane. I knew it'd come back to me. But this album fucking rips. A buddy of mine, Death Lance, down in Grand Haven, just got his record 3 weeks ago. After in Austin, just got his record like a year after it was in hand. I mean, I ended up getting this, we got through Hell's Headbangers, I guess, and way before people ended up getting it from the artists themselves through the Bandcamp. But this album rules. The Everlorn. It is a complete Dissection Worship. It's produced perfectly. The songwriting is great. It sounds like if Dissection didn't fuck off on that shitty Re Chaos and continued on the style that they're really, really, truly good at and put out awesome material. This is it. Sanera, the Everlorn. Awesome Dissection Worship.
Yep, very cool album. Yeah, Fulcandra kind of falls in that Dissection Worship camp as well.
Oh, yeah.
And they're doing a good job.
There's also a tribute to Dissection put out by Azurmadoth, who also put out that Rotting Christ tribute. Kind of thought about picking that up, but hard copies are pretty hard to come by.
Huh.
I think Azurmadoth I haven't really looked into it, but I know they've done like a couple of tribute releases. I want to say they're kind of like maybe a continuation of the Dwell kind of thing, where they're mostly doing tributes.
Huh.
That's why I thought that Catatonia tribute might have been by them, but I was wrong.
Nope. Northern Silence. Yep.
But I'm kind of surprised Northern Silence put out a tribute album.
You know, Rick, you're not the first person this week I've heard talk about Nink Harsog.
Yeah.
You're not the first person.
There's an interview with the band in the issue 3, I think, of Arcane Archivist. Which, by the way, we may kind of be working on a tribute album under the radar.
Tribute album? Cool.
Perhaps. My last pick. It's okay. Judas Iscariot.
Huh.
So, there we go. The Triumph of Evil. I don't know if I want to hear many bands covering Judas Iscariot, but it is a fun, just kind of celebration of the discography, picking out the best of songs and just kind of like relishing in necrotic, nasty USBM. Zaster, of course. This is put out by ISO 666, also a tribute to Iltjarn. Getting it with, like, I don't know if I really want to hear a band covering Iltjarn. Really?
I don't, man. I don't even really want to hear Ildjarn. You own one Ildjarn record. You kind of got them all. The split with Nidhogg is the best stuff he ever did. But anyway, go ahead.
Stuff's got its charm. I do love some Iltjarn, but yeah, like taking Iltjarn out of Iltjarn, not really worth it. Yeah, tribute to Judas Iscariot. I'm a big fan. It's got Zaster, Eternity of Darkness, Frostmoon Eclipse, which is a name you don't really hear much anymore.
No.
Mystium, Arkenstone, Krieg, Merrimack, Dead to the Earth, which is Iscaria Immortal, I think.
Dead to the Earth? Dead to Earth?
Dead to the Earth.
Oh, I know Dead to Earth is a guy in the UP named James. Pretty raw, grim stuff. I don't think it's probably the same project, though.
We got some Leviathan, Martyr. I wouldn't be surprised if this label also put out some more tributes, but ISO 666 put out some pretty decent, kind of late to the game black metal releases in 2002 to 5, somewhere around in there. And that is my final pick, bottom of the barrel.
Hey, well, sorry, I'm answering something.
Bugs crawling all over my screen, my light. If anybody was wondering, I have like shitty satellite Wi-Fi in my house, so I cannot stream from inside my house. I have a metal roof, which constricts the ability to play 5G working in my house. My garage has a metal roof, which is great, but it doesn't allow like connectivity to the 5G. So I am out in my 4 acres of wilderness, enjoying the bugs and the light and my friends and all of you.
So the next time we do this, we'll make sure it's in the winter. You'll be in a fucking snowmobile suit to be sweet.
And that will be the night he is rechristened from Bug Smasher to Brain Freezer.
Alan, do you have any more stuff to show?
I do. We'll do just a couple more here and wrap things up. One that I want to give a quick shout out to is Riot on their Born in America album. Criminally overlooked album in their catalog.
The second most mentioned band on the Heavy Metallurgy channel.
They're up there.
They're up there.
Deservedly so. But they have track 5. Devil Woman is an old Cliff Richard song of all things. So
The Accused covered that on their I think More Fun Than Casket. No, that was Devil Woman. They did that on
More Fun Than an Open Casket Funeral.
Yeah. I think that was on that one.
Okay, I did not remember that. But this is good. Now here's an example of a band digging back into, some of those older sort of, pop songs and finding one that works and doing a really good spin on it. Rhett Forrester sounds fierce on this. It fits the album perfectly. It's really, really good. If you didn't know, it's another one of those songs. If you didn't know it was a cover, you might not pick up on that until you sit down and read the liner notes. And then last one, and this is a kind of a fun one because it's a semi-known metal band covering another semi-known metal artist. But Jagdpanzer, or when they got back together in the 90s and started to finally get a little bit of success, this is, I believe, the second album after they came back, Age of Mastery. And there's a great song on here, track 5, called False Messiah. Really cool song. They do a great job on it, but it's not a Jagdpanzer song. It goes back to the early 80s, and as far as I know, the first appearance of it is on Jack Starr's solo album, Out of the Darkness.
Look at that Smooth Criminal on the cover.
Check him out. Can you now? Can you believe that the guys in Virgin Steel wanted to kick him out for being a little too fugly? Nah, couldn't happen. But this is after Jack was unceremoniously dumped from a Virgin Star. He hooked up with Rhett Forrester before Rhett, actually probably about the time Rhett was in Riot. And one of the tracks on here, there's Rhett hanging out. And the False Messiah is a killer tune on here. So I always thought I always liked this album. I liked that track. And I always thought it was kind of cool that Jagdpanzer dug that up to cover on the Age of Mastery. And just in case anybody doesn't know the story on that, Jack has always maintained, he's on the first 2 Running Wild albums. He was a big guitar hotshot hero on the New York metal scene in the earliest 80s. And his version of it has always been that, he walked into just some greasy spoon diner one day to get lunch. He was sitting there at the counter and the waitress walks up and says, "Hey, you're Jack Starr, aren't you?" He's like, "Why, yes, I am." Thinking, yeah, okay. She's like, "You used to be in Virgin Steel." And he just looks at her just like, "I am the guitarist for Virgin Steel." And she's just like, "I heard you got kicked out." And that's how he fucking found out that he was not in the band anymore.
Wow.
Awkward. I'm not sure she got tipped.
Worse than the story of how the original Faith No More singer got told that he was out of the band by way of fax machine.
If you're a heavy metal band and you're using a fax machine, you've already done something wrong. But you're Faith No More, so maybe that's okay.
Rick brought it up a good one here. We'd be remiss in mentioning. I don't own it yet, but Deceased just put out a Thrash Times at Ridgemont High covers album, and it is actually really fucking good.
Give me a second,
there's no actually about it. All the covers albums that King and the guys do are right on par with the bands they're covering. It's really great. I haven't got it yet. I haven't got a real copy of it yet, but it's awesome. Awesome. Yeah, Alan's
folks,
got it. He saves the day.
Yeah, folks mentioned Deceased in the chat earlier, and all of King's projects have always included a lot of fun covers live and such.
He's done a lot of them over the years.
Oh yeah, they used to do a great cover of Live Wire from Motley Crue. But yeah, this is they did a great lineup here. I'll just read through them real quick for folks if they're interested. You've got Whiplash, Spit on Your Grave. They do a killer version of that. You've got Sacrifice cover with Sacrifice, Stone, Artillery, Razor, Voivod, they cover Thrashing Rage.
Blessed Death cover rules.
The Blessed Death cover rules. Yeah, sorry, I skipped that one. Pray for Death does a killer job on that. Bulldozers covered. Death Wish is covered. So yeah, it's all the kind of crazy thrash bands that again, if you're watching this show, you probably know and love a lot of this kind of stuff. It is a great little comp they did.
Really great.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, there's plenty of others that we could mention and haven't. But like we've said, covers are a big thing in metal, and they always have been, from the first Black Sabbath album up to brand new releases like what Marty was showing just a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
Marty, you got something to wrap it up with then?
More prevalent in metal is a way of paying homage to the gods that influenced musicians and passing the torch down onto the next generation, or is that commonplace among all genres of music?
I think it's a commonplace. I mean, obviously we're in the metal trenches, so we know it seems more apparent, but my wife is a big old pop music fan. She loves Duran Duran. They put out a whole album of covers of bands that influenced them. And country bands, pop bands, rap bands, they all do covers. I mean, it's just
electronic, industrial, post-punk bands. Yeah. They all seem to do it. It is a good question, Ben. I've wondered that too, but I don't have the right perspective to know if it's more common in metal as opposed to other genres or not. I do think, it would make sense. Yeah, heavy metal fans, more so than some other genres at least, do put a lot of stock in knowing their roots, where the whole, style came from and what bands influenced what other bands. But I'm sure that is also true of fans in lots of other styles as well.
Yeah.
Well, the thing of it is, what the thing that we might not, metal for me is timeless. I mean, I listen to just as many 85 records, 82 records as I do modern records. And to me, it doesn't seem, whether your Blind Guardian covers 60 songs, that's dated. Okay. That's a swing and a miss. That's a rare exception. But most of the metal I listen to is old, and it doesn't feel old to me. It still feels just as fresh and new as when it came out. And, I'm back in a black metal kick right now. And, but still I'm pulling out shit that, I listened to back in 82, 83, 84, like it was yesterday. And I don't know that pop music fans or country music fans, maybe country music, a lot of people are into Johnny Cash and,
Oh yeah. Willie Nelson. There's a lot of homage paid to old school country. Country is a genre I know nothing about, but I do know that, they definitely tip their giant cowboy hats to the bands that came before them.
Yep, they do. Our friend Austin, he just did a, Poncho and Lefty song at the Fire in the Mountain Fest. And, it's still a thing. It's a thing. And covers are just, paying homage to your influences and the classics. It's always fun. It's always fun. It can be a disaster for sure. But, most of the times, if it's done with the right passion, the right spirit, it's at least listenable. It's at least, something that can be applauded as, and when a band can take a cover and do something new with it, like, again, circling back around to that Celestial Season Ultravox cover, that's a pretty liberal adaptation of that song. And they did it in their own way. And it is fucking awesome. It's great. It's not a bad song to begin with. And they turned it into a really cool, groovy Funeral Doom song. It's cool. Wow. It's cool to do that. But
one thing of note, which is kind of like a side thought post this Judas Iscariot tribute, is that Zaster, which is kind of like an emblematic modern black metal classic, pays tribute to Monkees by covering Monen's Knot on a tribute called Destroyers of the Western Skies. Which
I've got that comp.
And like, I liked Zaster a little bit until like I didn't stop liking Zaster necessarily, but like I didn't really understand what was so good about that until he paid tribute to Monkees by doing that cover, and it was like it all made sense. So I kind of love that, like, there's this habit of paying tribute to your ultimate influence and saying, like, you want to know more about what I love or what my discography is all about, then you need to check out Monen's Nod and Sorted Skogan and all that stuff.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And like I mentioned, Minor Threat doing Stepping Stone cover, and it's not just metal, it's all over the place. All bands want to stake their claim on something fun. It's something different to do. It's a challenge, see if we can do it. And sometimes it works great, sometimes it don't. Dead Kennedy's doing Viva Las Vegas, Sid doing My Way. I mean, Sid was a train wreck. That's not a great cover. Let's be honest, not a good cover. What'd you say, Ben?
Mutilation covered My Way.
They did?
Oh, that's right. They did. Yep.
Which album?
Fuck if I know.
It was probably the Sid Vicious cover. They probably covered the Sid Vicious cover of the song. The Frank Sinatra song.
Yeah. The other thing to mention with covers too, Marty, I mean, not only are they, kind of, fun and a nod to where you came from, for bands starting out, a lot of times it's just a way to get yourself up and running. You start out by playing the songs you love, and that's how you're learning to play, and that's how you're finding.
Well, that's what Metallica did.
To people, hey, you like UFO and Old Scorpions too. Let's jam on some of those songs. And eventually, if you stick at it, when there's chemistry and talent, then you can start writing your own songs. But you talk or you read about any of those old bands, they start by playing cover songs.
Well, like Metallica,
start without that.
They were starting out. They were going in the clubs playing a bunch of new wave of British heavy metal covers and not telling anybody that they were not their songs.
Yeah, someone mentioned that in the chat. I think it may have been Frank mentioned that in the chat earlier. That that's how Metallica started. Lots of bands did. It was, and Fate's Warning did the same thing. They picked more esoteric covers by a lot of those bands, but yeah, they were learning and. On things like, Beyond the Realms of Death from Judas Priest rather than, Breaking the Law.
And Christopher brought up one not to ever forget, Sodom doing the Bird is the Word song. Oh my God, what a terrible cover. Fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Was that the song? I think that was the song they did, wasn't it, on M16? The Bird is the Word?
I haven't I'll look it up. I have a block. Darren is right. Now, people, Hammerfall gets shit on sometimes, and rightfully so sometimes. They did do some really good cover songs of some old power metal classics and got the kind of like Metallica. They got some interest in bands like Pretty Maids and Storm Witch by covering stuff from those bands. So Hammerfall did perform a service to those bands.
Hammerfall's put out some good records. I was late to come around to it. But when their first album, Glory to the Brave, dropped, you had Jesper Stromblad on drums, and I was all excited to check it out, and I was too cool to listen to that garbage. Well, now I ended up buying it again, and I love it. I think it's great.
I went
Warlord
deep on
cover
that album as soon as it came out.
Warlord cover, Miss Victoria. Is that what they did?
Warlord's Miss Victoria.
No, they did a Warlord song. I don't remember which one they.
Yeah, and yes, they did. Sodom's M16 does include a cover of "Surfin' Bird" by the Trashman.
You guys don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That bird cover rules. I just threw up in my mouth.
Hey, Marty.
Yeah,
that bird is the word.
Yeah, it is.
And that word is that word is winterhawk.
Shit bird. It's a shit bird.
It's a winterhawk.
Heard music until I bought the deluxe edition of Deliver Us a couple of months ago, and it might be my favorite Warlord song.
Miss Victoria.
Yeah,
it rules.
And so yeah, tons of stuff to cover to check out. Creator, Celtic Frost, Carcass, tributes to fucking everything. A lot of fun.
Yeah.
Fun to be had.
Yeah, Christopher, there was an old obscure band called Wars Wolf out of Arizona that covered Call Me and did a really good job on it too. Nobody's ever heard of them. Sad. But I threw it out there. Wars Wolf.
Well, go ahead, Ben.
Tons of good shit. I really am emphatic about everything in this whole stack here. Summoning.
That's pretty sweet. I'm a little envious on that one.
All tribute, like, great shit. Lots of fun.
Oh, Child of the Damned. Thanks for that, Alex. It was Child of the Damned. But well, we took a topic that is a lot of fun, but maybe not be too much cared for a lot of people. But man, it was a fun 3.5 hours of talking about nothing but tribute albums and tribute covered songs and bands that model themselves after other bands. And we want to thank all you folks, you fine folks, for hanging out with us and nerding out with us in the chat. You need to do a couple things. We're trying to get our man down here, Mr. eBay Junkie Alan from Let's Talk Metal. We're trying to get his channel over 1,000 subscribers. He is damn scarily close to 1,000. If you're not a subscriber, go click the link. Go subscribe to him. Brainsmasher, Ben, our friend. Hey, thanks, Simon. Appreciate you, brother. A little bit of money action. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
I got to pay for all those eBay auctions I won somehow.
That's right. That's right. You're supporting the monkey. You're enabling the monkey. And definitely go check out Brainsmasher. The link to his channel is down below. He's got a mazillion subscribers, but there's always room for a few more people. And holy shit, more chatting. What's going on here?
Small numbers.
You don't remember me talking to you about, by the way, I always thought Austin Lund should do a cover of Lung by Towns. Well, send him an email. Maybe he will. Maybe he has. I have no idea. But anyway, thank you, everybody. We really appreciate you. And we'll be back probably Wednesday. I don't know if we're happening on Tuesday this week. We'll see. But Wednesday for sure. What'd you say, Ben?
Noble Beast.
Noble Beast will be Wednesday. So do your homework, people. Noble Beast, self-titled. Ben sent me this CD a week or so ago, and it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. But
Megaton Sword album, I'm like, Noble Beast. I don't know. The logo looks kind of similar. That's really all I'm working on.
Have you checked out the Megaton Sword stuff?
No.
Well, I thought Alan would love it, and he didn't, and it kind of shocked me a little bit. I know Kellen, if he's still in here.
I'm pretty sure power metal. It's mostly a genre that sucks, but Warlord's great.
Lost Horizon?
About it.
Lost Horizon? Come on.
Yes.
Yes.
Hello, thank you very much. That's really cool.
Hey, thanks, Jason. Skills, appreciate that. Thank you so much. You're too kind. I really appreciate that. We really appreciate that. Awesome.
Yeah. And just to be clear, a minute ago, I'm totally joking. I do not use any money that people donate for buying records. That's what begging my wife is for. Please, honey, let me bid on just one more.
I just won 30 auctions on eBay. All of them are over $100 a piece. Please. Mel, don't kill me. Don't make me sleep in the shed again. I don't like the shed. There's spiders.
Not as many bugs as Ben's fighting off tonight, but there do be bugs in the shed.
Don't hang up, Ben. We're going to talk for a second afterwards. Everybody, we love you. Cheers. We'll see you Wednesday. Have a great night and a great weekend. And yeah, check out some tribute records. They're fun.
Mm-hmm.
Love me. Fuck God.
There you go.
That chicken is flying south for the winter with the hawk.
The winter chicken is flying south with the fall hawk. Anyway.
No, that's a completely different kind of chicken, man.
I don't know.
Fucking it up. Come on.
We suck. We need a tagline. Somebody give us a tagline. We suck. Later. Cheers.